Yes, we are here, straight from the rubber room, planet Asylum, the land of misfit toys. Just like to say, anyone is welcome to come on the show. I don't want to offend anybody before I first talk to them. After that, then it's a whole new thing. But this stream, I had it actually as a quote in the book, like those quotes at the beginning, because Iris Murdoch, I give her credit for this quote. The great task in life is to find reality. When I read that years ago, I was like, holy smokes, man. That is the great task in life. Because anytime you think you found reality, it seems to slip behind another illusion. No matter how many veils you lift up, this is where I was saying that growth comes with that. They can take you up the trail on the side of the mountain, through the bushes, out onto the plateau where you have a wide view, a broad view of the truth, but you must open your eyes. And this is what we see with truths that come in the face of people. It's our own denial, belief. It masks the face of reality. Reality is, when you think about it, our perception is greater than reality. Once we know that, now we're armed with knowledge. Knowledge, they say knowledge is power, right? The power to protect us from what we previously did not know. So my perception of reality is stronger than reality itself. And that goes for everybody else. So when we speak with a person, we say, man, this person, their perception is not what reality is. We might see a little deeper through it, like we saw with the moon tax that is here already. We see the theft, open theft, right? That is in politics. I mean, you can play old tapes just recently of this politician, this actor that's on the in the big, under the big top circus. Because I mean, what else could you call it? Well, an asylum, really, a big circus that is inside of an asylum. This is beyond Bellevue level. And Bellevue, of course, is a famous what do they call it? Sanitarium, Nut house. Nut house is a much more simple, realistic way to put it. And yeah, that's it. Drew Ma, brother, here we are. You know what's up, man. We are in the land of misfit toys, man. This is something, man. We have the so-called moon mission thing that's happened. I mean, I can't even believe people. That's a protest right there. It's like, why? Do I have a choice? Does anybody have a choice in paying NASA? I mean, how much more of undemocratic is that? I mean, that's straight kind of dictatorship, saying that, oh, we have to do that. And then they put a puppet, straight Pinocchio, whose nose doesn't get long when he lies. But if you look into the real story of Pinocchio, again, our perception of reality is greater than reality itself. If you start to think, you can suspend belief. Pinocchio, I think he had a really, it was a brutal ending because he wasn't a good puppet. He was actually kind of malicious. And people, you can only push people so far. But when I was looking into stuff a while back about religion, some people, they brought up the Cathars. Now, the Cathars, that does stem back further into some Zoroastrian, and also the Indus Valley had this, to where people thought that if you had children, you were bringing them and putting them into the prison of the flesh, basically. So not having children, because this world, they believed, was created by evil, the bad God. So basically, they wanted to go back and purify themselves by not creating anybody else to be in this prison, live a life of being pious, and like kind of, I think they call themselves perfecti or perfects. So men and women who live their lives of strict poverty, but also they abstained from eating meat, animal products. That's amazing. And you do see that if you read about the Zoroastrian, especially the Indus Valley. I mean, you know, a lot of those people are vegetarian, some of them not really by choice. Uh, when we look at it, we start to say, wow, there is some, I mean, I used to be vegan, vegetarian, but I don't, I'm, you know, I'm eating the flesh, body parts again, which I can see these guys. I mean, a lot of them, if they were real, were burned at the stake. I mean, some of them just jumped into the to the fire, according to certain documents. When the Catholic Church, I mean, the Catholic Church, man, they make some of the Crusades look humane almost, and we know those things were not really the best face of humanity that we've seen. If these acts are even committed by humans, or are they committed by humans in a state where they are unpossessed, or is possession just another way of not taking responsibility for one's actions? Or could it actually be? I mean, when you look at anger and stuff, you start to see that sometimes it seems as if something else is there. The lights are on, but somebody else is there. And that is a possibility. I mean, the Catholic Church I think that's the only institution that is state funded, or I mean, church created state, of course, and then try to act like they're separate. The I mean, the Catholic Church, I mean, they put out all of these demonic movies and stuff. I mean, to the point where it's almost absurd. What was that series? Insidious. But before that, I forgot what it was called. It was like a 3 or 4 part series. I think it was with the Warrens. Oh man. Oh, The Conjuring. The Conjuring, I think it was. And it had some stuff in it where it was like, man, you know, it really was kind of, I mean, I saw some of it, but then, you know, it got to the point where it was like, come on, man, you know, and then when you look at the history, it's like, well, man, these might be the demons that they're trying to talk about exercising. What if it's that something good possesses somebody, and then they're trying to say that that's a demon? Again, the great task in life is to find reality. We don't even know where this is. When I asked a good friend of mine and he broke that out, I was like, wow, man. But not too many people want to hear that, because their perception of reality is what they believe, and belief suspends thinking. It puts a mask over the face of reality. Close the curtain back. Blue Pill Reich, what's up, brother? Your local curry cell. Man, I hope you get that account back, man. Or at least it shows up. It makes you wonder why they'd even need exorcists if they supposedly followed God so piously. Yeah, man. And just brutalizing people. Brutal. You know, that is, you look through religions and it's like, God dang, God got a higher kill count than Satan. He's just straight icing people, man. And I can understand what the Cathars are saying, like, yo, this is just some devilish type of thing. But, you know, though there was Gnosticism and stuff, I think there was branches of that where, and again, when you look into all of that stuff, they were doing some, it seems crazy to us. I wonder, you know, as more I look into it, Dead Sea Scrolls had, you know, from what they say, some crazy stuff in it about, I mean, if you read the book, I think it's called The Dead Sea Scrolls and the Christian Myth. And then John Allegro wrote another one called The Holy Cross and the Sacred Mushroom. So a lot of stuff was going on. Cathars, as they have documented, did not believe in Christ being what the religious books say they are, but more of angelic, taking human form, something like that. And when you look at like those people, from what has been written, seems that they were rocking the reality of it, not violent. That's they weren't well armed, so that's made it easy for the Catholic Church to just destroy them, burn them alive. I mean, it's horrible when you look through it. And then when you look at the Vatican City, Rome, all of that stuff, the Catholic Protestant wars, what was it, a 30-year war or something over in the UK? It's as if it's like something controls people through religion and gets them to end each other. It's crazy. If a person kills for money, they might stop when they got enough money. But if you're killing for a religious purpose, oh, you'll never stop. You have a license to kill at that point. Everybody's book gives them that license. Well, not everybody, but most books. I don't know about Azarun would have to verify with the Hindu stuff, but there's a lot of beef in those books too. But at least they're a little more lenient. The pantheon types are like, Hinduism is like one of the more relaxed ones that I see. They're like, if you want to pray, cool, whatever, just curry it up. They seem to be. I mean, you do have some that try to spark that nationalist stuff, but there's so many deities. It's like it's very widespread. It makes you think that main thing with it is the technology that is found within the books. That's the main thing, the schematic type stuff. Catholicism and Islam are spiritually the same religion when you look at history. Blue Pill Reich says, I had heard something years ago about Catholicism actually creating Islam to try to get back Jerusalem, and it went just off the handle. The Arab tribes joined together. Drew Ma, what's up, brother?
How you doing?
It's all right, man. Pretty good. How you doing, bro?
Good. Rocking and rolling, living the dream.
I hear you, man. Anything for the religious subject or for the great task in life is to find reality?
Well, I'd like to say happy Good Friday to everybody.
Wow. I forgot. Yeah, you're right. Happy Good Friday. What is Good Friday again? Like, it's a Christian or Catholic?
Well, it's Christian, probably primarily more Catholic. I grew up Catholic, so I don't know about everybody else's denomination.
Yeah, I think it might be, yeah. And then Ash Wednesday, what was that, last week or something? They put the ash or something on the forehead?
Yeah. And then, so Good Friday is when Jesus went through the streets, and he was tortured. He had the Stations of the Cross, and he did all types of different tortures to this Jesus of Nazareth, and then he was eventually hung on the cross and killed on Good Friday.
So that's like that Passion of Christ movie by Mel, Roxana Faye. Good to see you. Thank you for being here, Roxana Faye.
Mel, the anti-Semite.
The who? Mel Gibb. Yeah, he they said they didn't want him to produce that, and I heard that movie grossed like $600 million, man. And I think he's making what, like a part 2 or something else associated with it. Like I don't know how recent, but I think something popped up a few days ago. I never saw it. I mean, it looked kind of brutal. But yeah, I think hey, you know what? I can't I look at it as, again, it's like the title. great task in life is to find reality. So what we think might be happening, it might be something totally different. And yeah, I
Well,
mean,
what we do know, what reality is, the East Star is rising. The star is rising in the East on Easter. That is for sure. Which means, simply, guys, that the days are getting shorter. The days are getting, or sorry, the days are getting longer.
yeah.
Longer. The days are getting longer. We're springing forward. The days are getting longer, and we're having the sun on Sunday, East Star Sunday, which is this Sunday, is when the sun rises, the Son of God. You know, remember, this is all solar worship, Christianity. This has been going back, and this is no rip on Christians. This is just, if you, this is
And what
just
about Catholics? Same thing?
same thing.
Yeah.
Catholicism is just a form of Christianity.
Judaism, right? Didn't Passover begin like Thursday
Yeah,
or
so Judaism is a Judeo-Christian religion. There's some
okay.
similarities
So
there.
they're Good Friday in too, or
Yeah, so we have Passover, and then in the Muslims we have Ramadan, and the
so
Christians.
Ramadan is right now or not?
It might have just ended. I gotta
Okay.
check all my facts. I haven't
Yeah,
been
I can
watching.
look it up. Let me see. I thought Ramadan was like around Christmas or something, man. But uh, people would fast in the day and then eat it at night. I think it doesn't really. It's kind of like a just in case. It's like they're not really practicing the fast, I guess. I mean, they say people gorge at night and just don't eat during the day, and kind of yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
it kind of defeats the purpose, but
yeah, exactly. It's like a fake saying. The guys that might really do it, they get the
well,
respect for it.
it's better than the Christians who say they're not going to eat meat during Lent. They're not supposed to eat. So, they're not supposed to eat meat during Lent for 40 days and 40 nights. And then,
Mhm.
especially today on Good Friday, Christians, you're not supposed to be eating meat today. So everybody eats like 10 servings of seafood and says that's not
Yep.
meat.
Yeah, like
But
fish.
no
Yeah.
vegetables, no tomatoes. Like, dude, you can't just have scallops and
Wait,
flounder.
why not tomatoes?
No, you should have that. I'm
Oh,
saying,
oh,
like,
oh, oh. All right.
I'm seeing people post their plates on Good Friday, and it says all fried fish. I think you're kind of
Yeah,
missing
just
the point.
straight. Yeah, it's just it's like Alexis June, brother. Thank you for the support, bro. He says I missed last stream. Thoughts on the new moon launch on April Fools? Why are we going back to the moon? And do these astronauts know it's fake? Man, that is an excellent question. And when I think about it, it's like I can honestly think that some astronauts could actually not even know. They could be so brainwashed. Look at who's the guy? Don Petit, when they interviewed him, and he goes, "Oh, I would go to the moon in a nanosecond," but he just repeated the narrative. Oh, but we don't have the technology. They destroyed it, and it's very hard to. And I was like, this guy is just it reminds me of Bonhoeffer's theory of stupidity. I give that guy a lot of credit, man. When they talk about Hitler, and I'm like, well, he hung one of the most smartest men in the world, Dietrich Bonhoeffer, when he saw that what the guards were doing in the concentration camp, and he was a Lutheran priest from Germany. He said, well, how could a country with such great creators in many fields fall prey to this? And he realized it was stupidity. He said, these people they actually think they're doing something right. So applying that to the moon mission, I would say there's a lot of people, and those are the ones that will defend it to the death. They will defend their ignorance all the way. Because they actually think that they're right. It's like a fighter when they stage these fights and they say like, and you can see this, you can type in Mike Tyson fixed fights, right? And other boxers and UFC fighters. Now, the guy that wins the fight, he might not be told. So the other guy's saying, hey, man, we're gonna pay you to lose the fight. So the winner that wins that fight, he's gonna be like, oh man, you're a hater. You I've trained, I did all of this stuff, man. He's going to defend that all the way. The guy behind the scenes that paid the other guy to lose, the fighter that took the bribe, that took the dive, they're going to stay quiet. Even if they come out and say it, let's just use that scenario. He's going to be like, look at you, man. I beat you, and now you're going to say it was fixed. That's how much a person will defend a lie when they really believe it's true. So these astronauts could actually, like you said, they could actually might not know it's fake, or they could be. We know they are deceitful too. We definitely know that. Jake, what's up, man? This is Drew Ma Fitness.
Well, I think they would know it was fake.
Well, it's kind of like if we use the fighter analogy, like the winner does not know it's fixed, and he will defend all the way that he won that fight. Because why would he not think so?
Do not say that the moon landing was fake, because you know what? We're going to the moon. Woo!
Jake is crazy. Jake. Blue Pill Reich said something about he said, yes, that's true. Muhammad even had a family that was Catholic. Oh, snap. I did hear some stuff a while back about that. I don't know. It seems like seems to be flying by. Maybe it's just it's the real Sabbath is Saturday. I did hear that. Sunday sacredness is co-opted. Sol Invictus, venerable day of the sun. Okay, so worship day. Roxana Faye says, my kid's Jamaican grandma gives chocolate eggs on Easter. She used to fry fish and with hardo bread. Everyone ate spice bun. Wow. Fish is
that's cool.
I thought people were eating fish like on Fridays for like I thought that was like a thing, like Friday's a fish day or something, or maybe it's just Good Friday.
Well, I mean that's cool that his grandma fried up some fish, but did your grandma slingshot around the bird?
Yeah, I mean I'm yeah. Prem, what's up, bro? Good to see you, man. Yeah, I don't think I definitely think it's all stage. Alexis, brother, thank you for the support.
Well, one thing I could add with the NASA, I did have a astronaut who went to the same high school as me, a bit older, obviously, but he did do 3 space shuttle missions before retiring in '97. Andrew Allen.
So that
maybe
makes
we
it
get him on for an interview. He's 70 years old. He's still alive. He lives locally. Should be contacted.
Where did the space shuttle go? Did it just go in orbit? Did
He's
it
got three missions. So
okay.
There are 3 different missions. And then I don't know.
All right.
Where the interview will go.
Alexis, brother, thank you for the support, bro. Jake, you got some type of gurgling background. I don't know if it's the mic or something. I wasn't hearing it as clear. But Alexis, brother, thank you, bro. Alexis says, what's your response to people who say if the moon landing was faked, why didn't the Soviets prove it was? They were the competition after all. I would say that they're in on it. It's all one big thing called control. Like these countries, right, that we would think are individual. When we look at what happened during the plan thing back in 2020, no countries were against that. Magically, the countries that are supposed to be against it were like, hey, you need to take the magic potion. And I think it was 3 African countries where leaders said no, they all ended up getting offed. So it was like, oh, so all of this beef, where was the country speaking out then? So I think, it's a possibility that like the Soviets, maybe the Soviets tried to call out a few things, like why isn't the feed, you guys are feeding in a line, we're not getting a direct feed. There was a lot of stuff that was off. The fact that they were playing golf, that's the spit in the face. It's like, wait a second, this is supposed to be one of the greatest scientific achievements, and you're playing golf on the moon? That is so, it's like a test of basically stupidity and ignorance to see if people would believe it. I think, and the Soviets did call out some of it, but like who was it? Grissom, one of the what was his name? Grissom astronaut. All right, this guy was off, I think, by the U.S. Grissom, it says here, Gus Grissom, along with Ed White and Roger Chaffee, they were ended on January 27 and 67 during a pre-launch test of the Apollo, because he was very critical. He was one of the guys like, yo, this tin can ain't getting nowhere. And they were like, oh, yeah. Next thing you know, all three of them ended up in a capsule, some type of cabin fire fueled by pure oxygen, a faulty wiring, all three members. And they say the disaster forced major safety redesigns. Those three, when Grissom was speaking out, if you look into Gus Grissom speaking out, you'll notice that he got ended for speaking out. So there were people, and maybe the Soviets got paid off. Remember, I think the first moon mission tax was like $4 billion. And the second one, there is a documentary that has been flooded off the algorithm, but you might find it, called A Funny Thing Happened on the Way to the Moon. I think it's a British produced one. And the lady that narrates it, she was breaking it down. She was breaking it down like piece by piece, so much that if you type in anything about moon, all the other BS ones like fake Professor Dave and all of that stuff pop up. If anybody types in the Earth, the shape of the Earth, fake Professor Dave pops up. You know, I don't adhere to the Earth thing, but I'm saying, you know what? They bring up some good questions. Now, a lot of it can be logically deduced to say, all right, yeah, that you're going a little too far. Gravity definitely is a theory, but there is a force, of course, that pulls things down. And it does need to be looked into because sound can affect gravity. They levitate water droplets with that. Metals can affect gravity. We see it if you take a copper tube. If you take a copper tube with a strong magnet that's smaller than the tube and drop it through, it's going to fall at a slow rate. You're going to be like, whoa. You can look at the videos online. I've done the test myself in real life with a copper pipe and then dropping a neodymium magnet through it. And, you know, you have to have a couple of them put together, and it changes the flow of gravity without a doubt. It like cushions it. Roxanne faces, I think those astronauts are very deceitful. They're in, a lot of them. When you look at the faces of Neil Armstrong and those guys sitting there, you're looking at the face of what I would call liars. Yeah. Jetpack grandmas. And the Soviets are definitely in on it, man. Yeah, the Soviets, I mean, I look at it like I don't trust no politicians of any country. I mean, it is all like a show. That's the great task to find reality, man. I mean, when I read that quote, and the quote by Iris Murdoch is, she said, the great task in life is to find reality. But given, like, I think she said, but given the state of the world, is it safe? So she knew. It's like, look, if you do this in the open, you're going to get offed unless you're a plant, or they look at you as, all right, let them be seen as a nutcase, and he'll get a following or whatever, and then we'll just twist it to our advantage, like maybe David Icke, Alex Jones. Look at what happened with London Real with Brian Rose. He tried to say he was going to build a uncensored thing and ended up selling out, and CoffeeZilla called him out on that. But if I don't know what you're saying, Drew or Jake, if anything.
I just wanted to address Alexis June's super chat.
Yeah,
he said the Soviets call out that the U.S. faked it. Well, that's because the U.S. and Russia were in a competition to get to the moon. U.S. president announced by the end of this decade we'll get there. What do you know? At the end of the decade, 1969, the last year of the decade, all of a sudden we landed on the moon. And then Russia landed on the moon, supposedly, a year or two after us. So,
Oh, really? I didn't. What, back then?
yep, yeah, a couple of,
Oh,
yeah, it was
so
like
Russia did their own fate then.
exactly, yep.
But is
And
it
then
filmed or not? Just pictures?
I don't know if there was pictures of films, but I remember the U.S. flag was there, so they like had to copy the movie set that the Americans used in their filming.
It's just unbelievable. Oh my God! In our opinion, this is our opinion.
They were making their own circus set like you did on your thumbnail. That's
Oh
basically what they
my.
were doing.
Yo, the moon circus set. I still got that uploaded. Where is it? Yes, this is it, bro. This is
great thumbnail. Oh, it's beautiful. I didn't know you were streaming early because I missed it. I was like, dang, I really want to be in that moon conversation because I thought it was hilarious. So, like, look at us screenshot. Oh, the circus moon is beautiful.
this is it, bro. And I heard A. Patterson wrote me today, and he was saying something about, I think I don't know if they landed or they were in orbit or something. I mean, it is on another level.
They're supposed to slingshot around the moon, apparently. Like when I saw they were taking off, I was like, oh, let me look into this, man. And then I thought it was on April Fool's Day. I was like, oh, I was clapping, dude, to myself. I was like, this is hilarious.
And he brought up the fact that, because I saw it too, there was a full moon because the 31st.
Even better.
Yeah, because I was in Queens Village and the cops were everywhere pulling people over. And I said, oh, it's the 31st of the month. And then that night I noticed, I said, whoa, it's a full moon. Bang, April 1st. And A. Patterson was telling me that he had a list of stuff that they launched, like wars that started. I don't know if World War II was a full moon, other stuff like that. But yeah, man. So no, but Alexis is saying that why didn't the Soviets why didn't they
let me address that part of the super chat. So that's what the history backstory. US just supposedly we're gonna do it by the end of the decade, and then that's when people actually thought what the president said mattered. So he had to complete the mission on time, whatever, hit it by the deadline. So they did 1969. Soviets, well, okay, they faked it, and then they just made their own circus set, and so they landed it like a year or a couple years later or whatever. And then that is very similar to what's happening in Antarctica right now. It was in 1840. It was the U.S., France, and the U.K. All launched discovery missions to Antarctica, and then now supposedly the Hitler, supposedly the Germans with the plus signs, they were in the Antarctica, and then a bunch of other countries followed them there. And ever since the plus sign people went there, it's been off limits. No civilian ships can enter it, and all the nations agree. Just like all the nations agree about the moon stuff, like India landed on Super Nintendo.
I gotta get those pictures. You've seen the pictures, right, of India, the mission?
India landed on Super Nintendo. America landed in a tin can. The Soviets landed in some kind of. It's just
Roxana Faye says Luna 9 was the first spacecraft, I think, by the Russian. She says transmitted photograph data from the it wasn't a manned mission. It was USSR. So this is the Soviets never achieved the manned lunar. So they would just according to Google, you're right.
I love that word mission, a moon mission. What did we accomplish? What did we accomplish on this mission?
Tax, man, to tax out. It was moon tax. On the funny way, on a funny thing happened on the way to the moon. If it's still available on YouTube, the British lady made a good point. She said that during the second launch, and they had a guy. They had an interview with him. The people in America called up and complained because it was interrupting the reruns of I Love Lucy for the second moon mission. So the first thing went there. So when they saw that, it was sort of like, hey, let's do a few more. Nobody's going to know. And I think as the technology got better, where people could have discerned whether or not it was real, we can't go back. And then you see 50 years, over 50 years. And now all of a sudden, I guess they realize, like, all right, hey, you know what? AI, all this stuff, but the people are stupid enough to where it doesn't matter if they fake it. I think the test was now I'm looking at it, right? Alexis, brother, thank you for the support, man. He said, Alexis is on point. He said, does the moon actually exist? Man, this might summon Scribe to jump
now
on.
good questions now.
I mean, I don't know. Yeah, Scribe might hop on, man. You got to, turn off the Tupac album, come on a stream if he wants to defend as the moon actually exists. Like, I think he might be jamming out. He might be jamming out. But and I got much love for Scribe, man. It's like a brother to me, man. I think that honestly, I've looked at the moon through telescopes, and I've spent $1,000 back in the late '90s. Bought this refractor telescope. I was really into astronomy, and a friend and we would look at it, and the moon through that, I had 111 time magnification, and it was clear, man. It looked like a celestial, but it looked like I could step on the moon. It looked that real when I looked at it through the telescope at night. And I was like, man, it looks like I could, it looks so delicate. It was amazing. But when I think about it in the day, I understand why people think, is it holographic or whatever? Now, as I showed before, in the daytime, sometimes it looks like the moon is almost translucent. I've seen the moon and the sun on both sides of the sky in the day. Like, you look on one side, you see the moon, the other side, you see the sun.
Yep.
In the setting aspect. So I've seen it in the sky on the same day. But I think personally, I think the moon, I don't know, because the great task in life is to find reality. So I think from looking at it through telescopes, looking at the Jupiter, seeing the red dot and the lines of Jupiter, and then the 4 Galilean moons around Jupiter, and seeing them change position over the days. Sometimes they're in a line, like 1, 2, 3, 4, going straight across Jupiter, 2 on one side, 2 on the other. Sometimes they're in different positions. And then seeing the moon Triton, like the little dot, and then the hump around Saturn. I've seen that with the same telescope. So the celestial bodies that, when, like Eric Dubé and these guys that promote that these are like water droplets or something, that's where it's just like, come on, man. If you look through a telescope and you look at that, then come on. And I'm just saying, hey, I'm at least saying I could be wrong. But when I hear these guys saying they cannot be wrong, that's how I know that they're full of it. Because I told Scribe, I said, we could rent a jet right now if we had funding on a GoFundMe. But none of these flat earthers want to do that. They don't want to do it. They don't want to put a GoFundMe up. And I'd be like, look, I will be on that plane, and we will take these flight routes to say, okay, if we fly straight this way, like when they put the flat map and they say, okay, like this, why don't we do that? See, the fact that Dubé is over in Thailand doing who knows what, and Eddie Bravo has money. I mean, he's a jiu-jitsu teacher. Magically, he don't want to do this. And these guys are very, like, religious too. They'll bust out the religion. So I'm not saying that they couldn't be right in some aspect. I'm just saying, well, let's use the scientific method and test it. Like, Jeranism is looked at as a sellout because he went with this priest who was taking people to Antarctica to look at the sun stay in the sky for 24 hours. So now the models that they would try to produce and say, oh, well, the sun, moves this way. It's like, well, you can go to the Arctic Circle. You can go to Alaska and see it. Alaska has like a 24-hour darkness for like a month. And I think that's what inspired that vampire movie, 30 Days of Night. So,
Great movie.
Right? Yeah. So, and I'm not saying that it couldn't. I tried to propose to Scribe. I said, look, what if it's 10 times bigger. Because he's like, oh, the curvature, you shoot the laser. I said, okay, fine. I said, so what if it's 10 times bigger? Because we both agree, like, look, there's probably more continents. Why would they tell us that? One big thing that brings up a red flag is when you look it up, they literally say they've mapped the moon, the dark side, the front side. But when you look up the ocean on Earth map, 5%. They might say 10% now. So how is it that the oceans on Earth are only mapped 10%, but these guys are mapping the moon and Mars, the craters and all of this? It really does seem like a distraction.
You went to the moon? You think we didn't go? Santa Claus ain't.
I had people get emotional because I had said something about this almost 20 years ago. There was a guy I knew, he passed, really cool dude. And he was like into it. And it was like, he got kind of emotional, man. Like almost like kind of like, yeah, man, like I could see it affected him. And he was into conspiracies. And I was just like, wow, I can't break this guy's illusion. I got to let him live in Fantasy Island, Roxana Faye says there's a free ebook by this guy called Wakey Wakey. You can download it online. I can find a link if anyone's interested. It's quite long, but it's well written about his theories on what it is. Yeah, I mean, I guess Wakey Wakey, if they type in, if you just got the title, they'll be able to find it, because I don't think it'll let you post a link. But yeah, you could, yeah, if you want. Yeah, so Grissom, that's so sad because this guy spoke out. Like, let me see if it has, what did Grissom, what did he say? What did he say controversial? So Grissom.
I feel sorry for anyone who thinks that that they are 100% sure about anything. I mean, you should have an open mind, and if even if you're 99.9% sure about something, I still love to hear other people's views and opinions. But people who are dead set in their ways, I do not understand them. I mean, so many lies have been uncovered. How open to ideas.
Scribe and I have gotten into it speaking. I told him, I said, look, flat earth is a religion, bro. Just like evolution is a religion. I said, they do not want to budge. I said, the fact that Jeranism, now he's a mod on fake Professor Dave, like he definitely crossed over. I don't know if he's into the evolution stuff, whatever, but hey, if that's the way the guy wants to go, fine. Why not?
I'm not sure who Professor Dave is, but what I can agree with Scribe on
he's the biggest pro-evolution jab. I mean, this guy, he's got 4 million subs, a little over, and he is so zombie on evolution. And all he does is like curse at people, call them slurs. Anybody that presents evidence, like, look, DNA is very close to code. It actually is beyond any code. It's like a highly advanced code. And matter of fact, there was a video where he got caught out there. And the guy was like, look, man, first he's like, oh, well, there's some that's non-random and there's some that's looks like this. It's like, well, if you see code for computers, books, all of this stuff, and it's created by a human mind, and you see something that looks like code, he gives the same BS that, oh, well, if it looks like code, it doesn't mean that it was created that way. And it's like, well, what about computer code? What about book? Anything you see, that somebody made that. A spoon, and he's an agent. He's definitely an agent. Like he's a minion of the state. So anything the state does, I ask people that have that type of belief because he's part of the religion of evolution. And even worse, I mean, he's destroying, basically, in my opinion, the minds of kids that believe that crap of him saying, oh, well, nothing matters. There's no purpose to life. Well, maybe not to his life. It's like, well, then why did he have kids? Why is he married? I mean, you look at him and you already know, straight inkwell. You already know. It's like it's just the only hope his kids have is that the mother cheated and that ain't their father. I mean, you look at somebody like that who yeah, just straight up, and the first thing they'll say, if anything we bring up about how I've shown so much stuff about evolution just being a total lie, a fabricated lie, it sparked racism. There was a black atheist. I was on his channel, the Icopod or something like that, and he tries to act like all smart. You look at his face, and you see somebody that was probably ravaged by the butt pirates in church, and now he's an atheist. And when I went on there, he tries to say, "Oh well." After I left, he goes, "Yeah, you see how they want you to be agnostic, anything but atheist." It's like, yeah, because you're like the captain of the Titanic that think it's clear sailing until you hit an iceberg. That shows you the level of your idiocy. But again, if he wants to identify as an ape or his ancestors as apes, go right ahead, man. Doesn't mean that we come from them. But they'll try to bring that up. Like I brought up the Charles Darwin book and all that. Oh no, he meant plants and animals, just like this other guy, Yerf Dog from Gnosis's stream. And that guy got so hurt by what I said about evolution that he made a video about me. And I didn't even know. He told me when I went on Gnosis's stream like last year. I'm not going to go on it anymore. I mean, the guy, I think the host is very disingenuous. I thought he was a cool guy, but it is what it is. But yeah, man, I look at that like, wow. So Dave, fake Professor Dave, he calls himself Professor Dave Explains, but he's a fake professor. He's not a real professor. So right there, it should bring up a red flag to be like, yo, man, why are you calling yourself a professor? So first,
his name should be Agent Dave, is what you're saying.
Yeah, or just fake professor. I call him fake professor because it's like, no, he's a fake professor. It's like he's not. Dr. James Tor, even though he's extremely religious, he's part of Jews for Jesus, staunch Christian. He had debated Dave many times, and he shut Dave down because he's a PhD level, like one of the leading biochemists and synthetic chemists, I think, in the world. Dave can't even explain some of the equations that he was putting on the board. And they had the debate in person, a few of them. And Dave had a few of his cheerleaders like Aaron Ra or Aaron Ra and stuff, who takes his name from Egyptian deities, but claims to be an atheist and claims evolution is a fact. These guys are pro 100% moon mission, as if they sat in the lunar module and went there. So if you say anything about the moon, they're minions of the state. They're basically minions of the state. But like in my opinion, does the moon exist right now? I think the moon is up there. I don't know how it's being held up there. I definitely, when you look at their whole theory of gravity like that, it does seem very, very odd. The fact that the moon is just the right size that can go in front of the sun for an eclipse, that is not by a chance. If you do the math for the probability of that, you get astronomical numbers to where it's improbable.
Yeah, that is a very good fact. I think about the whole lunar eclipses and stuff like that. It's a very low mathematical probability, basically like winning the lottery, surprisingly. But anyway, I like what you said. Like they were defending the moon mission, like they sat in the moon mission pod tin can thing, like they went there themselves. But what I think is funny is that, God damn it, I kind of forgot now.
I think some songs were alluding to that. What was that one? Could you believe they put a man on the moon or something like that? I think it was by what was that? They made a song called "Losing My Religion." What was the name of those guys? Man, I think it came out in the late '80s, early '90s, and the hook was "Could you believe they put a man on the moon?" I think it was mocking it, and oh man, it wasn't REO Speedwagon. I doubt it. Man, I forgot the name of that group because their main jam was "Losing My Religion." I think that was what their main song was. And then there was another one. The guy from The Who, the lead singer, I think he made one called Major Tom, where, that, and then there was another one that was more like a laid back Moon song. Like he was, and he said in the song something like, I'm sitting, and I'm sitting in the top of the world in a tin can. Like he said, he's in a tin can. So these guys could have been REM. That's what it is. Thank you, Roxana Faye. REM, Man on the Moon. Yep. That was the group, man. And that's a song that I think if anybody listens to it, I think this guy was kind of letting them know. What was it? Chili Peppers also said they went a little far with the, space or something, or the moon is created in a Hollywood basement or something like that. Little bits. But Grissom, he claimed that he did not blow the hatch on his 1961 Liberty Bell 7 flight. And the colleagues supported him, notably. The Right Stuff alleged he panicked in The Right Stuff. I think that was a movie about it. Other controversy arose from his blunt, often unappreciated criticism of Apollo capsules. So he was he was blunt. He said he was very critical of safety. Before the Apollo 1 disaster, Grissom was blunt about the risks and famously complained about the quality of the command module, even hanging a lemon on it to express his dissatisfaction to man. So he put a lemon, like as if
he said the spaceship is a lemon, like the lemon law is buying a Beetle POS car.
Yep.
Lemon on the tinfoil tree fort that they were going to the moon.
Gus Grissom is the real hero. And when we look at Neil Armstrong and John Glenn and all of these straight, I don't know if the word is a putz, but I mean, these guys are the guys that lied to children, and they had to live a lie. I think Neil Armstrong, one of them was Buzz Aldrin. He was a freaking used car salesman after that. How do you go to the moon and not be famous for the rest of your life? You know, when you look up there, like have a telescope, hey, kids, you see that? Yeah, this is where we flew. American history, we already know, is such a brutal lie. I mean, when we just go through what has happened to Black people in America that people don't want to acknowledge, and white people too. People don't know. White people, there's people that went to jail for helping Black people. One man, I think, did over 10 years for buying a Black family a house in a white neighborhood. I think it was the 40s or the 50s. So they were persecuting everybody. It was brutal, but they don't like to talk about that in history. And yeah, and this I think Drew hopped off. If he wants to hop back on, he can hop back on. But they don't want people to be together. They don't want different people to be together. That's what the whole theory of evolution was about. It was about, because even though Christianity was brutal with religion, when people adhere to the religion, they'll say, look, this guy's acting like more of a Christian than most of the other people that might look like the person that's trying to judge them, and say, no, this person, like Bonhoeffer, when Dietrich Bonhoeffer, a German Lutheran preacher, came to America, he said God was not in the white churches. He went to the Black churches, even though it's not there either. But he saw that there was more of a faith there. And now we know all the churches are just straight closet city. I mean, you go to a church and it's you already know. I mean, the crimes, the decades, the centuries, no apologies. It's just straight fruit city. Nobody cares. And now we see it blatantly in politics. The moon, yeah, I think it's a celestial thing right now, but I'm open to change. I'm open to change, unlike a lot of other people that might be, oh no, it's definitely this. And I'm like, well, from what I see, I've looked at the Orion Nebula. I used to look at the 3 stars in Orion's belt. I think it's Alnitak Al-Nilam, and I think it might be Altair. I'm not sure. And then the sword belt, the two shoulder stars, Betelgeuse. That when you look at it, you can see the difference in color. Betelgeuse is like a red type of star. And then if you look at Sirius, it's bluish white. Most of the stars that if you look up at the night sky is like a bluish white color. But when you look close, like Mars, you distinctly see it's red, and you see that it's not as shining as a star. It's more of a dull red. And that's where you start to say, oh, when you look at it with a telescope, it doesn't shine like a star. You can turn to a star and that shine will be there. So there are differences that people should look through with a telescope instead of like just saying, oh, it's just this or that. But, you got these, I would call them disinfo agents that try to prevent a person from going on the journey or taking that great task in life is to find reality.
Hey, MD, do you think you can land on the bat signal?
I hear what you're saying. Yeah, no, I hear what you're saying. If it's a projection,
It's a hologram, and it's a very interesting concept. It's like the bat signal, which you can do that with very powerful light and things like that. And
I would say before anybody, because I mean, telescopes got to be crazy cheap now. I bought that telescope in like '99, and so that same $1,000 telescope has to be like at most what, $500, or you can maybe rent a telescope. So before anybody has to build a strong opinion of it, just look at it. Look at the moon at night during, even in the day if you want, but at night is the best. Not full moon either, because the full moon is extremely bright. Look at it when it's a crescent moon or a half moon. That you're going to be like, oh my goodness. And then after you look at that with a telescope that's about, and you got to get a good quality one, that's about 100 times magnification. Mine was 111, and it had the drop-in eyepieces. So now that gives you more stability. So you pull out that and you drop in another one at a higher magnification, which I was waiting on the one for 232, I think, magnification. And they never got it in at the store called Natural Wonders. I had bought it from in the mall back in the day. And that actually, I returned the telescope after having it for like a month. And I was like, look, they gave me back my $1,000, thank goodness. And I should have kept it. Part of me says it had the little remote control where it could turn, but then it would give these clicking sounds that used to piss me off. I would have rathered if it was just like, it had the ability, which I didn't hook up back then, to hook it into something. Like if you set it to a certain star, it had programmed in it to where if you type in certain numbers, it will go to different stars. But I'd like to do it by hand. It's very hard to do by hand. Alexis, thank you, brother, for the support. He says, did you see Mars and the other planets? They fake? I did see Mars, and you can only see a few planets, right? Mars I saw, and when I looked at, I could tell Mars with the naked eye, because that's how good I got it looking at the sky. So if I look up and I see Mars, if I can just distinguish it, I can tell the constellations very easily. The Orion's constellation, Gemini, and a few others, Cassiopeia, the Pleiades. If you go from the shoulder star Betelgeuse and you look like follow that line, you'll see the Pleiades, which is a cluster of small stars. You can see it with the naked eye. I looked at that with the telescope. Amazing. I looked at the Beehive cluster. Amazing stuff in the sky. When I looked at Mars, dull red. It had that dullish, not like a shine like a star. It looked as if it was very close to when I looked at Jupiter. I saw the red line. When I looked at, and the moons, when I looked at Saturn, I saw the hump with a tiny dot, which they say is Triton. So now that's at 111 times magnification. If I would have gotten that other eyepiece, because I spent the money to, it was a nice telescope, man. You could pull it out. The the eyepiece had like a weight to it, you know. So because when you have a telescope with weight to it, it's not flimsy. It actually stays more steadily. A lot of the refracted telescopes are long and they're kind of spindly. You have to spend some money. I mean, I was looking into spending some serious cash on the other telescopes. I mean, I had the astronomy magazine. I still got the star charts. I still got books with charts of the sky. And I mean, look at sailors. How if you go on a dark night, the sky is amazing, man. But I have to admit that, I mean, here on Earth, we need to know more about the ocean and the land.
And that's what I was going to say, MD. I think the stars are cool. I think there's definitely some truth to it, as far as, astrology goes, and you can use it for navigation and all these things. I think it's pretty cool, But as far as Earth right here, there are wonders of the world right here that we can travel to, that we can see, that we can touch, see, feel. I mean, there's so much on Earth that people haven't even seen, and they're talking about they mapped the whole moon and they know everything about it. It's like, who cares? How many billions and trillions of dollars are we wasting doing that? Because we're not gaining anything from it compared to, why don't we help the people here? Why don't we learn how to develop more lands here and how to get water out there? And, it's like transport fresh water from these lakes over to like cities so we have more housing for people. It's like there's so much right here on Earth where we can make life. There's enough money, there's enough production, there's enough whatever, so that everyone can live a decent, peaceful life. Instead, we got people struggling, the homelessness, drug addiction. People can't afford families. They can't afford food. People can't afford clean drinking water because apparently in Flint, Michigan, there's still not clean drinking water from all the factories dumping pollution in the waters. It's like there's so much going on right here. I don't think we need to spend trillions and billions and gajillions or whatever dollars.
It's all extortion. Yeah, in our opinion, yeah, it's extortion, man. You think about the amount of money they have extorted basically from the public under the disguise of the moon missions, all these, and once they put Tom PDF file Hanks in the movies, Apollo, and oh my goodness, what was it, Apollo 13 or something, magically on the 13th one. I mean, it's such full of crap. It goes in line with all of American history. And just the history that's told from this point of view. I mean, it's horrible. When I was saying, I don't know if you were on the stream when I talked about the treadmill, the origins of the treadmill, that was a slave punishment machine where they would punish slaves on the treadmill for long times. It was a torture device. And that's what they have for people in freaking, instead of going on a walk. You got people, now this is to show you the idiocy of the average American and the person that would go to the gym, drive to a gym to walk on a treadmill. I mean, how asinine is that? You're driving to the gym to go walk in a cave. Why don't you just take a walk? Why don't you walk to the gym? That's your treadmill.
I always thought that way, especially people who only do the treadmill and then leave. It's like, why didn't you just go for a walk outside, get some fresh air? Like in the wintertime, okay, maybe I understand because it's freezing cold, but if it's nice day outside, just go for a nice walk outside.
Yeah. Even in the wintertime, I mean, I look at it as, sometimes it's brisk, but sometimes that, walking in cold weather, if you're bundled right, it can, I mean, in the military, we had to do it. We had to sleep out in that crap. I remember we had the, I think it's called a 40 below sleeping bag. You can put that on ice and sleep on it and you're still warm. They had the Mickey Mouse boots that inflated. So guard duty, if you had to do it in Germany, which I didn't have to do it, but guys would tell me that it would inflate.
I never had a boost, but what I will say is that there is a rush to knowing that you can survive bitter cold below 0 degree weather.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah, if it's very cold, I understand that. But New York cold, Canada, it ain't. I mean, it's like one thing, the electronic treadmill creates dirty electricity, creates a charge when you're on it. So you don't want that. You want the Gilligan Island type treadmill, the wood, the stuff that's not plugged in. But even then, it's sort of like when you think about the history of it, and then you look at a lot of other stuff that we use in society, it has a slave origin history. and with the architects of humanity, or whoever's running humanity after the architects created what we see, it's like a sick joke. It's really like a sick joke when you think about it.
I think it's funny how slavery is like such an issue in America when like all races have been slaves at one point throughout history. I mean, it's proven, it's documented, it's a fact, and it's like at one point all people have been slaves. And I agree that it's wrong.
For most. I won't say all, but most, because they don't want us to think that a society could exist without slavery. You see how they normalize it?
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm pretty sure.
Imagine if we knew. All right, let's just do a thought experiment. Imagine if we knew that there was a civilization that didn't need slavery, and it was much greater than what we see on Earth today. We would not believe in any of these governments. We would see them for the monsters they are.
Oh, I think they have existed probably on islands. You know what I mean? Because
no, big continents. We won't diminish it. We will say, look, this is a thought experiment. How would we feel? We wouldn't believe anything. We would say these people are lying monsters, because there has been, people can work together. Egypt, if you just look at some of the Egyptian friezes on the wall, the ancient, paintings, you see people of different ethnicities. Now, even Kemet, when it was called Kemet, it was the land of the black land. But they don't want to say, well, it was the black soil and all of that stuff. And you're saying, okay, well, it's in Africa, North Africa, Northeast Africa. That's Egypt. That's Kemet. That's where we get chemistry, chemical, stuff. Kemet was the hub. And they don't want it to be seen as very old. They want Sumer to be older. We don't know if Sumer was really older. So anything, right? And this is nothing against anybody who is white or any other color. But if you look at the attack, at the minimalization, the marginalizing of anybody who is brown or black, it's something that's hard to look at, because people get in their feelings. I mean, look at the Stevens from Django, like Jesse Lee Peterson and Officer Hatem and all these guys with these channels that can never, ever criticize anything that a white criminal might do, but they're quick to criticize black criminals. And I'm like, well, the one thing they got in common, they're both criminals. America has a crime problem. It's not a race problem. When somebody asked me about the whole thing, they try to, they really try to do this. Alexis, brother, thank you for the support, bro. He says, every time NASA shows us a picture of Mars, it just looks like they took it in a desert on our planet. I can't trust them. I absolutely agree with you with that. Those pictures that they show of Mars and the land, that could easily be Arizona or someplace in the desert. That's clearly the body in the sky. When I see it with telescopes and stuff, clearly different from the stars. Like if you look at Betelgeuse, the shoulder star in Orion, it's a red star, and it has that. No matter how much you focus, it never loses that shine. Like it has like those spikes like coming out of it. The Mars, immediately, when you look at it with the naked eye, and you could tell a difference, say, yeah, that one's a little different. It seems as if it's closer or something. So you can clearly see that. And I understand, never trust. NASA is just not trustworthy. It's just not trustworthy, man. Alexis, brother, thank you for the support, bro. He says, could the sun not be what they tell us? Could it just be a gigantic light bulb the elites have the power to turn on? I mean, works and looks exactly like one. And you might be very right about that. With the sun, they used to have filters. You can look at the sun with the telescope, but you got to be extremely careful. People have gotten, like, you can burn out parts, you can have eye problems if you don't have the right thing. So I said, yeah, I ain't really trying to look at it, but I think the sun clearly could be an artificial thing that I think the architects of humanity could have ignited it somehow. So that stuff, see, this is where You got guys like Professor Dave or the fake professor and this stuff. Oh no, you guys are, whatever. And it's like, we ain't even try to listen to you, man. It's like, look, we understand why you angry. It's like I said before, all you got to do is look into somebody's background and you start to see, oh, this is why they behave like a child. They never matured into a man. They're still like a 40-year-old child. They're not an adult. So yeah, I mean, I clearly, the son could, I don't believe anything that they just openly tell. We have to investigate this ourselves. Mr. X brother, thank you for the support, man. He says, will we seek fake pics of alien bases on the moon? We might. I won't put that past them now with AI. Yeah.
Well, I mean, if they're going to show us fake pictures of alien bases on the moon, they would have to match like other current and recent, photos of the moon. And what would match perfectly with the recent moon landing from India is there's an episode on Looney Tunes where they discover Martians. And so that would just pair up perfectly with the Nintendo. And then you got, the tin can, the aluminum foil tin can landing on the Mars with the U.S. And then you got the Jeffersons episode to accompany that one. And so it's all fake, dude. I mean, who cares what they show us? To me, what's more interesting is what you were just talking about, MD, is that the sun could have been ignited by the elites or whatever. I don't think
not the elites. Remember, we can't, like, we got to have it. We got to compartmentalize it into where the elites and all of that, basically the rich. So that's like more. I think the word elite, it's kind of created, right? It's basically the rich. The rich,
the top 1%. That's control.
Right, the rich. They have convinced the poor that poor people, like they've convinced some poor people that other poor people are holding them down. And these idiots.
Right? That's one of the best quotes ever, MD. I love that.
Thanks, man. They never look at the rich. Oh man, these are the poor people. And it's like, what the heck? It's like, are you guys nuts? Woke pandemic. What's up? He says it's over for moon cells. Yo, pandemic brother, it's a pleasure to see you, bro. If you want to hop on, we got the link pinned to the top of the chat, bro. It's always a pleasure. Pandemic from the old school, man. I clearly, when I look at it, the sun, that is a big mystery. They try to tell us, oh, it's first, I don't think it might not be as far as they're telling. None of the distances that they're telling us is probably true.
The distance and the years of how old something is. Once they say something, I think about your stream that you did a long time ago on Mount Helen when it blew up, and they thought that the layers of rock would be hundreds of millions of years, but it happened within months. Less than a year is all those layers formed up. So it completely destroyed all their carbon dating and layers or whatever, completely destroyed all of that theory that they're using to date things. So, really, we have no idea how old things are, and we have no idea how far away things are. These are all just like, you might as well just throw out random numbers, billion, gajillion. That I just block it out, dude, because they have no idea. You have proven that, MD, and I appreciate that.
Thanks, man. Appreciate you appreciating that, brother. It's real. Alexis, brother, thank you for the support, bro. He says, but MD, aren't there people, aliens above the rich? Trump is rich and is the most powerful seat in the world, but we know he's being given orders. Yes, I clearly, there's people and there's definitely something that are not people that are above the rich. Yeah. This is where we can use just our extrapolation, our powers of deduction, which they want to make us think we don't have, but we have that. We can clearly see that Trump, he's rich, he's in the most powerful seat, but he's being given orders, definitely from behind the scene. That's just, we know this, and people will try to convince us that it's not. Like with these evolution channels, they just want to stick to, oh no, there's nothing else. There are clearly something else, more powerful things, the architects of humanity being a group, one of them itself. And what is in between the architects of humanity and us, or above them? So that's clearly, and anybody trying to.
Or below them in the ocean.
Yeah. Definitely, yeah, and they might be in the ocean. You know, GP Man says, "Yep, crabs in a bucket." In fact, anytime we try to make any mental progress, they're going to try to crab in a bucket. They're going to try to pull us back down. They're going to try to say, "Yeah," and the taxes never end, bro. You're so right about that. I mean, taxes. I've said it before. Make me feel inhuman. It just you lose it's like, what the heck? Like, if I were to sell books, uh you know, say I sold 100,000 books. I got 4 books out there, dating books. I also have the 2 Spellcaster and Secret Words. And I made, you know, a couple of 100,000 or whatever. You know, when I think about that, it's like I would I'd probably fund something to where, you know, what GP Man saying about the taxes. If I make 300 grand, and that's 300 grand on, like, saying, okay, I created a product and I made 300 grand. You pay 100 grand in taxes, so you don't get to keep a lot of that. You get to keep 200 out of 300. Now, if I work at a company for that 300, they take about half in New York City. They had a guy, he's got a video on YouTube. If you make $1 million, you get like a little bit less than half. I think it's 1.5 million. You get like 740 something. You don't even get 750, which is half, 750 grand. I wish I could make money like that. That'd be great if I had money like that. This is where it just makes you feel like, what am I to them? You start to see your position with them, the way they treat us. It's very almost like it sucks the essence, part of the essence out. You start to say, wait a minute, I made this money, a paycheck, when somebody makes $8 or $10 an hour, which in Oklahoma, they still pay people $7.25. And you got to pay tax on that. That's a crime that the government is committing against the citizen. Even if you make 30 an hour, you got to pay $10 in tax, maybe a little more. You get to keep 20, not 30. It's horrible. So if you make $25 an hour, you can't even keep 20. That's terrorism to me. That's a person that makes $15 an hour can't even keep $10. That's like the limit. They might get 10, but if they have no kids or whatever, it's like, what? It's horrible. It's literally, they have declared war on us and we don't even know. That's the crazy part of it. Ragamuffin Vision, good to see you, man. And Mr. X says alien bases would be the ultimate distraction. Absolutely. They will, you know, and I got to give it to Eddie Bravo. Anybody can find the video. He said that. He goes, they do not want to go to Guantanamo for those Epstein files. He said it like 2-3 years ago. He was on Rogan. And, you know, Rogan is, I mean, I don't even know what to say about him anymore. But, you know, I mean, maybe he's just got to play along or whatever. But Eddie Bravo said something to the likes of, they will stage an alien invasion. They will invade other countries, anything to distract people from what they've done. Now, other people, maybe there's good people in government that allowed that stuff to come out, or maybe it's all just a distraction. When I think about the kids on the milk cartons in the 80s, and somebody brought it up. I mean, thinkers, a critical thinker, I don't know who it was, said, yeah, those kids on the milk cartons wasn't looking for missing kids. They were advertising who they're selling. And I was like, wow, that's a really deep way of looking at that. And could be true. It's like they can find the president of Venezuela and kidnap him or whatever. And they can find the Ayatollah and all this stuff and all these people, but they can't find the missing children in America, right? Just common sense, something that they don't want us to use. All these missing kids and anybody that touches that ends up ended. They end up Sioux fuel. What was the Lincoln Park, Chester something field? And then the other guy, and then there was a DJ, and then there was Anthony Bourdain. Anybody that touched it, there was this woman that talked about it. I think she was high position. I don't know if it was a senator. She talked about CPS being one of the biggest dangers to children, child protective services. Next thing you know, mysterious accident. She's gone, and her husband, I think. So there's some ugly stuff, man, under the rug. Is if anybody lifts it up, if anybody really takes a look at what's going on, it's scary to that point. And I could see people getting like a little like frightened and maybe turn into an Orthodox religion, because what's the old saying? Man's extremity is God's opportunity. So in other words, you got to be scared. You got, Nietzsche said it too. Nobody converts. You got to be sick enough to accept it. You have to be broken enough, demoralized enough to accept it. And like Yuri Bezmenov said, you can demoralize a generation in like 10 years. And he goes, once they demoralize you, they can do anything they want. And what do we have today? A totally demoralized situation. GP Man says, following his Super Bowl win, Seahawks, Sam Darnold reportedly lost approximately $71,000 due to California's jock tax, despite earning $178 winners bonus. California, yeah, I heard California and New York are the highest. Cali might be a little higher than New York. It's brutal. It is brutal, man. I just, it's sad, man. It's really sad. And anybody that speaks out, like Gus Grissom, that's an astronaut. That's a hero. John Glenn and
there needs to be like more appreciation for him, man. When anyone talks about NASA, Gus Grissom, man, should come to everybody's mind, not Buzz Aldrin. Buzz Aldrin, he was a liar, and talking about going to the moon, man. When you said, man, these people are defending going to the moon like they were in the supposed rockets or whatever. One thing that I thought when I flew to Afghanistan, supposedly, my first thought was when I landed, how do I know this is Afghanistan? I'm just in a desert, and they told me to Afghanistan. That was my first thought when I landed there. It was a very surreal experience.
You are a thinker, bro. That is deep, man. And you're 100% right. How do you know if that wasn't like another country or a different desert? Or you're
exactly. Absolutely. And we even had these like GPS trackers. It's called like Blue Force Tracker, like these like GPS things or whatever. I'm like, dude, they could just like say whatever on these maps, just because like this is supposedly some satellite map, and it would have your other units in there on convoys, and so those to reduce friendly fire, whatever, and it's like, I mean, they can just program those maps to say anything, though. It doesn't, just because they say that these maps are right, or these satellite, GPS systems are right, or and like, I just landed in a desert. I'm like, how do I know, man? I'm in this plane with no windows, the C-130, whatever it was.
You could be in different part of the rock. Yeah, you don't know. Yeah, exactly.
I mean, how do I know I'm in Afghanistan? They just told me I am. Like it was. So these people saying like defending the moon like they were in the ship. I was in the plane and landed in Afghanistan supposedly, but I'm not 100% sure. You know what I mean? So even if they were in that spaceship supposedly and went there, like, how do they even know they're going to the moon? Because it has been, how they film astronaut movies has been shown, how they do it in pools and things like that. There's been bloopers about NASA broadcasting things of supposedly from the space station, and there's wires shown suspended from these like belts, from these like harnesses that they're wearing, and so they could easily fake whatever type of Hollywood production they want to put on. You know what I mean? Like, I'm sure they can strap some rockets. Like, we have these rocket cars that go across the salt flats, and there's all this flame and fire and stuff and smoke out the back. Sure, we can make some type of like rocket thing that goes up in the air, but once it gets out of people's sight and like, people lose track of it, and it's like, they could be anywhere. There might not even be people in there. We just send it off. We don't know what happens to it. And then they just go to the filming station in a Hollywood basement, like the Red Hot Chili Pepper song, and film it wherever, in a pool or whatever, hang up by fishing wires and harnesses. It's like, we really have no idea what's actually going on. So people who are 100% like, I know this is happening. Really, they're standing there holding the lantern in the darkness, just like your thumbnail. Your thumbnail is perfect for this topic.
Thanks, man. It just I appreciate it, man. There's guys that have called out a lot, and what you said is genius level, because it's like other vets need to be like, yeah, man. When I went to NTC in the Mojave Desert, and they flew us there, I think. I'm trying to remember. Did we fly there? Yeah, we flew to NTC, and that's supposedly the Mojave Desert. You're right. How do I even know I was really? That could have just been some other desert or something like that. And we stayed there for a month, and
you really be able to think, have critical thinking, be able to think outside the box. It's like most people can't do that. Very, very small percentage of people can do that. But I remember that being my first thought. I walked off the plane and looked around. I'm just like, this is just a desert. I have no idea where I'm at. I mean, they say it's Afghanistan, but there's lots of desert in America, lots of desert in other parts of the world that are obsolete, just like, where I was. And we have no idea if we were even really there. I mean, it's just, but that, like you said, that's genius level thing. That's like, you really got to be able to think without just being brainwashed and accepting what you're told. It's such a rare trait nowadays. Like when the whole Conan thing started happening, my first reaction was like, there is no way. Like, well, first of all, they told everyone to stay home for 2 weeks. I was like, there is no way this is real. And everyone did it. And I couldn't believe it. Like, that just shows you. Now, afterwards, all these people are saying, oh, yeah, well, I did it. I took the jab, but now I would never do it. No. There's no going back. You're a zombie. Don't pretend like you're kind of waking up now. No. You're just following another trend. There's a super small percentage of people who are not zombies, who are able to think like that. Because even the people who didn't take the jab, most of them can't think outside the box like that. Like, how do I know what reality is? Like your thumbnail is talking about. These are the deep topics, man, that really interest me. And that, man, I remember we used to have awesome conversations going into just crazy things, we're way back in the old streams, man, like, a few years ago. And
yeah,
anyway, it's a kind of an ode to your original streams, man, when there was no differentiation between the whole dating stuff and the reality stuff. They all just kind of merged together. Like,
yeah.
Anyway, man, you're bringing back good memories of stuff we used to talk about, man. Just great stuff.
Thanks, man. Yeah, and the rules were more lax. We saw them increase over the years. They got tighter and tighter.
We can never have those streams.
Those streams that they wouldn't even. Yeah, they would probably get shut down midstream. I mean, it was beautiful. Those days were, and that was only a few years ago, 5 years ago. We just, now it's like,
it seems like it just flew by. 5 years, like, I can't believe we've been talking for 5 years, but the time has flown by. And life has changed a lot, or society has changed a lot, the rules and censorship. And because I remember we're talking about, the dome, waves crashing again, like just very, like nothing was off topic. Now we dance around words and sayings and things. And it's ridiculous, man, how much things have changed over 5 years.
It really is. I'm looking up the thing with Gus Grissom, and it says over the Mercury flight in 2013, letters reveal that Gus Grissom, along with other astronauts, were mad and disappointed that John Glenn was chosen for the first American orbital flight. So they might have saw something in that orbital flight that, Glenn just seems like a total sellout, and Armstrong, Buzz Aldrin. I mean, these guys, just looking at their faces during the press conferences, and they look all drab and, you can see the lie on their face. And to think of people that was cheering it on, buying the Apollo coins and, all of this stuff, that's just like the supporters of politics today. It's just another type of it. At least, the astronaut Grissom, he's like, how you questioned, hey, is this even like, I don't know where I am. I'm in a desert, but it might not be in a desert in Afghanistan. It could be in Kazakhstan. It could be in Pakistan or Iran, or there's no way to know.
Another part of the Mojave Desert. I might just flew around.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. It could be something like that. And Grissom, he's like, no, man, this thing ain't gonna get us up past that stuff. And he put a lemon on it. I forgot about that because I remember when I had looked it up, and I'm like, yeah, Yeah, and then they try to say,
That
"Oh,
part. Thank you so much for telling me that part of the moon landing. I mean, I researched a bunch, but that part I didn't know about before it even took off. Like, wow, that's a great part of American history. Thank you, MD.
yeah, he faced controversy. Uh, after the 61, they had a Liberty Bell 7 mission when the capsule hatch blew prematurely, causing it to sink and nearly drowning him. And this was in 61. Critics later amplified by the book, the film, the right stuff, accused him of panicking, though NASA investigation and later evidence suggested a technical failure. So they were probably trying to do something like, because he almost drowned, they probably knew, okay, he's already outspoken. This guy thinks, this guy understands basic mechanics, and he could call us out on this. And if he says something, that's going to hold weight because he's such a, he's up here high up on this.
Yeah,
Glenn Johnson.
like space engineers is what they're called. Like there's some type of like engineers. They're not stupid people. They're very smart people. But even people who are book smart and get these degrees, most of them are brainwashed and they just go along with whatever they're fed. But this guy, he was an out of the box thinker, and he just says like, "You're telling me these tent pole legs wrapped with aluminum foil, that's what we're gonna land on?" And he put 11 on it. Dude, that guy's hilarious. That guy is awesome, an American hero.
Yeah, he really is. Grissom was the real hero, man. He. The fact that they say, "Oh, he died in the 1967 Apollo 1," that seems to be, in my opinion, a total setup. I mean, we've seen it happen.
Yes.
I don't know if you.
It's never on there. They might have made an explosion, and they might have made it even more simple. They might have just, bang, bang, two to the dome before he even got on there, then just exploded the thing. We're like, we don't want to take any chances. We tried drowning him once, and it didn't go. Well, let's just take this guy out before this thing even takes off, and we'll just make an explosion. You know what I mean? Like, they're ruthless. They don't care.
Yeah. Yeah, he didn't realize, man. It's like, he's in the belly of the beast. It's like you're in 1967. And this is where I notice where a lot of people, like people of color in America, would see through it very quickly. Once you get into that like black astronaut level, now you're just a total zombie. Because to get there being non-white, you got to totally shuck and jive. You cannot go against it. You see what they're doing to Grissom, and Grissom is a white male, a man. John Glenn is a male. Grissom is a man, and they offed him. So imagine when you look at the guy, like they got a black astronaut in there now with the other two or the 3 or 4 guys. I mean, all these guys, they're going to say exactly what they're told to say. They're not going to, they've got it down to a science.
I thought that was so funny. They turned the astronaut mission, supposedly in quotations, into a diversity program too. I'm like, let's get
look at Challenger. Look at Challenger, right? The black astronaut in there, and magically it blows up, right? So Challenger blows up, and when somebody had put the names of it together, so you had something. It was Discovery, it was Atlantis, Endeavor, and a Challenger. So it was something like the Endeavor for the discovery of Atlantis, and all Challengers will be destroyed. And Challenger was destroyed. So that's right. Amazing. I mean, people put together stuff. I give them a lot of credit, man. These free thinkers, and that was the only one, I think, with a black man on it. So it's like, holy smokes!
What does Artemis stand for? I forgot.
Supposedly, I think the wife of Apollo. It's like a female goddess or something like that. We were talking about. Let me look it up. Artemis. Artemis. Meaning. All right, meaning. The Greek goddess of the hunt, wilderness, wild animals, the moon, and chastity. So we have that.
Oh, chastity. Perfect for these times of Sodom and Gomorrah. Number 2.
And the equivalent, the Roman equivalent of Artemis is Diana. Holy smokes. Cynthia, title referring to her birth on Mount Cynthius, the mistress of animals, an epithet used in Homeric hymns. Phoebes, occasionally used to denote her role as light moon goddess. And Delia, a reference to her birthplace, Delos. So the etymology, the name origin uncertain, but believed to be pre-Greek, potentially related to the Greek word Artemis and safe, unharmed, or sound and healthy. Okay, so I see that, and also Arctos, bear. So there is, you know, some other people might, if they have anything to add in about that, like if they have any info.
People just traded freedom for safety, and they're mocking us for it. They're mocking their experiment for the whole jab thing.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, it just, yeah. When you look at it, it's like those people showed us who they are. You know, they showed us who they are, and you know, there was something. I don't know if you were listening when I brought it up about the Cathars. Now, the Cathars were people that broke away from the Catholics, and they are people that didn't believe in having children because they were saying that the God that created this earth is evil, the material flesh. So everything material, the architects of humanity, the Cathars are saying those are evil. And if we have a child, we would be guilty of bringing that child into a physical prison of the flesh, which is created by the evil, and that they were going to stay pure, you know, and then they were going to, you know, their thing was to forsake the body and save the soul. And I was like, they were pretty, and it went back to older stuff like in the Zoroastrian in Iran, in India, in this valley. So you had people that actually had, we could call it a belief or an understanding, or it could be more. Maybe they had knowledge of it. The Gnostics also, I think, engaged in something like knowing that, look, if you have a kid or children, you're bringing that children. You got a little background noise. You're bringing that child into the physical prison. So to prevent that, like it was deep. They had a belief that they believed in the baptism of the fire, not the water. So the way how you have Christians that baptize in the water, the Cathars were like, no, they're baptized in with the fire part. I don't know how it was done. I got to look deep into it, but other cultures had this. And they're like, look, we're not trying to continue this cycle of madness of having a child in something that we know is evil, that we know they were rocking, and the Catholics hunted them down. Yeah,
that is a very deep, understanding and thought and belief and everything like that. Because another belief that, a lot of people with these NDE experiences of near-death experiences, where they say like go into the white light, supposedly that's a trap where you're reincarnated back onto Earth. And they say if you have children, then you are trapped. You are bound to be reincarnated back here on Earth. So maybe they kind of knew that with near-death experiences, or the magic mushrooms, or the peyote, or whatever they were using. Maybe they kind of saw this, in the fourth dimension, and kind of gained some understanding, and they decided like, hey, if we just stop having children, like all the souls are going to be released, they're going to be free to get out of this prison called Earth. So very, very interesting.
Yeah, it's a deep understanding. And the Catholics hunted them down, burned them at the stake in bonfires. They had one where there's a story where they said they had the bonfire and they willingly jumped into it. And they were like, hey, we're okay. We're not going to change. And I don't think they say didn't survive, but hopefully some clandestine groups are still alive today.
Very interesting that they would just jump into it, because that was their belief, that the purification happens through fire. And, in my mind, I'm thinking cremation, because they believe that purification is in death, not in jumping in some water and thinking that this is, life, whatever, because it's kind of contradictory baptism, here, because like you jump in the water and then you're still here, and people don't act any different just because you got dipped in some water. You know what I mean? So it's like all kind of a contradictory and lie type of thing. To me, it's very weird. You know that thing. Now cremation, jumping into a bonfire, there's no you will be changed. It's not you just, oh, look at me, I'm getting spiritual brownie points or whatever it is. It's like, no, you really will change through the fire, because you will go somewhere else when you go through that process. So
Yeah.
they had very deep, real beliefs. Not these
Yeah.
fake, for show only beliefs. It seems like.
And one of their beliefs was no lying, no swearing, and no killing, and that's why they were able to be killed off and by the Catholics like that, because they didn't have defense. And so there were some things where I'm saying, okay, I understand why they did that, but I mean, I'm not trying to jump in a bonfire. I'm definitely thinking, okay, they needed people to protect them. Like I think it was Buddhist before the Dalai suck his tongue Lama. I think it was like 800 years ago. They were saying that, I forgot who it was that protected them, and they didn't have, because they did their meditation and they were protected by armies to say, look, these people are spiritual, and it's our duty as warriors to protect them.
There's always mercenaries like the Crusaders, or the Christian, ones who went out and protected during that time. There's, the Muslim extremists. I'm sure, that religion knows whatever they're called. Like, there's always people willing to fight, to protect a cause or belief or whatever. There's always been warriors, so they might not necessarily have believed in that, but luckily they had some supporters that did. And, it's to say that one belief is better than the other, or it's right or it's wrong, or that one, they got this part wrong. How does anybody really know? I mean, to me, it's all just kind of a scam. It's kind of a grift. It's like, no. This one's right, so give your money to this church. I just think it's all kind of a scam, man, because how many churches have been caught, exploiting the money? Like, how many of these civil movements have been caught, exploiting money? These charities exploiting, the money that they gain from it. It's like, the Red Cross, even the biggest ones do that. They say that, no, really that money is just stolen. Like, it's all just a scam to get money. Like, how is money controlling everybody's lives so much? And the government is the biggest scammer of them all. They steal our money, and what they do with it, they make the people's lives worse. They extort money and they make people's lives worse. That is completely wrong.
Yeah, I remember in the 90s that I said that they take our money and they use it to make bigger handcuffs for us, tighter, and it's such a system of a mental manipulation. Like Robert Greene made a good point. He said power is totally psychological. It's us being in the military. We know. It's like, we know, like, holy smokes, at any moment we can disobey an order, but we know there is a consequence. But it's a total mind game. The only thing that's preventing us from turning around and gunning them down with the M16 or the machine gun is worried about consequences. So it's a mental thing of saying, I'm over here supposedly having to kill somebody that I don't even know, because some coward is back in the White House or in his weapons manufacturing facility. And, it's like, I don't have no beef with these people. And they're telling me, oh, no, those are the best. Well, you come here and fight them. And the poverty that we were born into pushes us into that, man. It's crazy. It's like they create the poverty to make it to where our lives are like, we happily will enter the military. And then when we we make it through, and somehow we start to become more aware and say, man, you know what? Basically, we went on the journey without even knowing it, that great task to find reality. And little by little, we're finding it. Little by little, like GP Man said, they try to pull you back, crabs in a bucket. They try to, easily before you know it, if we don't keep thinking, you turn around, you're back in the matrix. That's how this matrix is. You don't got to get plugged in. Next thing you know, it covers you with a thought. You can go right back into the matrix. Looking at a television screen, a football game, a basketball game, any type of entertainment, a pop singer, a rapper, any brainwashing. All of these people are Agent Smith. Every single one of them.
Thank you so much for saying that, MD, because that is why I haven't watched TV for a long time. I don't watch the news. I don't. I don't like to watch movies. I haven't seen movies for a long time. Like any new movies that have come out is because I know what they really are. The original patent for the TV was for brainwashing, and Mockingbird has been exposed since the 50s, and it's still going on. So anything they put in front of you is a brainwashing device. So, because you need to be able to choose what you want to learn or things like that, But as far as entertainment goes, it's not just entertainment. They're slowly brainwashing you. That's why I feel like I'm in a time capsule from like 15, 20 years ago, like 10, 15, 20 years ago. I mean, that's when I stopped, really started breaking away from stuff. And it's just like, these people have no idea. And all these people think so weirdly. And it's just walk around society. There is no cohesive, like, oh, saying hi to your neighbor in this friendly society. No, they're driving people apart with all these algorithms and everything on social media. Again, I've never had social media because I understood since I was a kid that these are all brainwashing devices, and they are dividing and conquering with just great efficiency. Just like Alexander the Great would be proud of what the elites are doing right now.
Oh yeah, it's crazy. It's when I think about it, it's like, man, I'm shocked. The brainwashing program is basically a success because we are the minority of people. The minority is intelligence, thinking people. I'm just looking up the moon mission. I'm trying to see if I can get a picture of a few of them. I had one picture. I'm trying to see. Well, maybe I got it saved because when I look at the CGI of these other moon missions, man, the recent ones within the last couple of years, it's unbelievable that people think this stuff is true.
Dude, the level of AI has become so good that people are worried about deep fakes, fake presidents, and you got people looking, excuse me, you got people looking almost identical to the presidents, but they're wearing masks and like their earlobes are different or like their eyes are slightly different. And, like certain things, like they can get it pretty close, but people are even able to notice that. Then people see like a Nintendo game, Super Nintendo game graphics of a supposed moon landing, and they believe that. It's like how dumb is the majority of the population? Like, hey, just take this jab that's completely experimental, and we have no idea what it's going to do. And oh, what do you know? It ended up being bad. Like, whoops. Oh well, let's just recall that. Just like they recall, so many food items all the time, like you brought up in other streams. Like people do not care, man. I really don't even consider most people humans. Like, there's no way they are the same thing as me. You know what I mean? Like, they were some type of clone that doesn't really have independent thought. They're not the same.
Yeah, no, I totally. They are like how people call them NPCs and stuff like that. And it just, yeah.
Yes. Souls.
Not everybody's human. Not everybody's human. I found this picture. So space from Earth. Now, when I was down in South America, you don't see it this prominent, but you do see the bulge of the gal. You see stars. It's like holy smokes. But below the moon, it's black, right? It's crazy when they try to tell you, because you can just looking up on a regular night and seeing stars, and in the moon you don't see nothing. And of course, this is the ancient technology used to call the moon. Drew Ma says, oh, yeah, I don't know how Drew feels about whether they went or not. If you want to voice your opinion, you're always welcome to, bro. I I mean, I know Drew is very open-minded to a lot of things. But yeah, the moon mission, like we already know, people can get in their feelings, man. People can get in their feelings. I'm not saying Drew is, but there's a lot of people I talk to that, yeah.
How do people get in their feelings? Is because the algorithms, the brainwashing has made them take a certain stance, and they think because of brainwashing, they need to defend it to the death, and they get very emotional about it. When I hear different perspectives, I'm like, huh, interesting. Tell me more. Let me hear another perspective. So when people get in their feelings, I'm like, huh, you don't really have critical thought or independent thought or anything like that. You're not able to form your own conclusions or opinions, or you just, whatever is brainwashed to you, you will defend it to the death. Like, I'm talking to an NPC, that's the majority of people on the planet. I just realize that on a daily basis. Like, I cannot even talk to people without them getting, very defensive about random things that they shouldn't be that defensive about. But you cannot talk to most people because they're zombies.
Yeah, yeah, totally. They're so zombie. It's like if you don't have your mental shields up, they'll start to zombify you. And a lot of people that might be like, I'm not sure. I don't think we went. And then once they talk to a zombie, they're like, oh yeah, yeah, I think we went now. And it's like, well, what happened? Like, what did it's like, what brought that on? I uploaded a few more pics. Let me just see if I can.
Something is when people ideas that are attached to certain sides, like the red team or the blue team or the right and the left or whatever, it's like they just attached random concepts to those teams. So you can't some concepts from one and some from the other. You can't just like have your own conclusions. It's like if you just even mention a certain topic or talking about something, people assume on what team you're on or whatever. It's like, well, what are you talking about, man? You can't just like think like a certain topic or policy or something. Like, they cannot do it, man. Like, it's so weird.
This is the picture. You see this one, the face you make when you realize you're going to have to lie about the moon landings for the rest of your life. Now, these guys just got back from the moon. Look at their faces, right? It's like, you got to be kidding me. It's like you got guys that lose sports games that look happier than this. This is, yeah.
You gave it your all. You feel alive. You're like, man, it sucks out. They would at least have some type of emotion, whether they were just like, man, I can't believe I tried so hard, man. Like, you got to see that when that guy he stretched out and caught the ball, I passed it to him. And these guys are just like indifferent, just like, yeah, it brought us to the
right. If they went to the moon, it's like you look at that, you could see the lie, and then you got Von Braun over here playing with his space dildos that he created, and it's just like, come on, give me a break, man. This is, he even spoke out against this. He's like, he's got his black space dildo, he's got his white space dildo. I mean, this is all, it's cock worship, man. These guys. And this was the picture, yeah. So the Chinese moon mission, the Soviet, these are all pictures. These are all pictures. It's like Israel, India, Japan, moon mission, American, Soviet. It's like, what the heck? Yeah, it's crazy, man. It's crazy.
Pictures, man. It just kind of shows like how just gullible people are to believe that these like weird little cartoon creations landed on the moon. So, oh, that's the most realistic one right there. I love it.
This is the one, bro. This is, and the thing, like, it's amazing, bro. Alexis, brother, thank you for the support. Alexis says, do they look like that from guilt of knowing their whole life is a lie? They were smiling super hard before going, but now they look depressed. Yes, I really do think so. Like when people look at those pictures,
perfect description.
Yeah, when they look at those pictures and they say, "Oh, these guys, they like you look at somebody that just won a sports game and they're jumping around, they're happy." Mr. X, what's up, brother? Good to see you, man.
Hey, good to see you, MB. Jake, good to see you. Some interesting topics are covering here. That's good.
Hey, I want to address Jim's comment. I've been in the construction industry for pretty much my whole life, and bro, when guys drive by like a house that they built or a deck that they built or an addition on the house they built, dude, they will point it out every time they drive by. If they did the tile work in a restaurant or they did something on that restaurant, man, like they or a building or whatever, right? They helped build a new commercial building, a new Walmart or Costco, whatever. But when construction guys drive by, they'll point. They have a little sense of pride. I worked on that Walmart right there. Oh, that house, I built that house right over there. No sense of pride at the press conference for the moon landing, whatever they're doing, because they know it was a lie. They have no sense of pride. They just have a sense of guilt, like Alexis Jones is saying. Their whole life is a lie. Yeah. So there's no way if they actually did that would be their reaction.
And I got some better pictures too, Alexis. I'm gonna upload them here. These pictures too. So this was the one where they realized they got to lie for the rest of their life. So we see that. The other one is the comparison. You look at guys that just lost the basketball game underneath, and then the guys that just came back, the losers. They look exactly like the losers that lost the game. They look depressed. And it says these guys just got back from the moon, the greatest scientific achievement ever. And they look like the losers. And then, of course, you got this guy calling them on the freaking moon. I mean, Nixon, it's like, come on a freaking landline. It's like you got to be crazy, man, to tell me that you call these guys on the moon, And then they had a few other pictures. You got Buzz Aldrin saying the stars all around are even brighter than they are here. And then Michael Collins from Apollo 6 says, I don't remember seeing any stars. So you see the two contradicting things, just like a politician. Oh, I'm not going to start no new wars. And then he starts new wars. So you got the contradiction. Oh, the stars were even brighter than they are here. And then, oh man, I don't remember any stars. And then they come back just straight liars. Just straight liars.
If you were like, let's say you spent a year building this race car or training for an event, and then like right before, like you pull a hamstring.
It's coming in real low, Dave. I don't know if you got it covered.
Oh, sorry, what?
It's very muffled. It's coming muffled.
Oh, can you hear me better now?
Yeah, much better.
Oh, okay. They look like basically they trained and prepared for some type of an event, and then if it was like a race or something, and then they pulled a hamstring right before the event, and so all that lead up was like a huge letdown, or like building an engine for this big drag race or whatever to try to set a world record, and the engine blew up and they couldn't participate in it, and they missed the event. Basically, it's like that's what it looks like. They didn't even participate. Like all this training for their whole life was a lie. That's
absolutely, bro. Absolutely. Alexis, brother, thank you for the support, bro. Alexis says, speaking of Nixon, why did the elites force him out? Now with Nixon started saying some stuff. They got some stuff on the Watergate tapes, and he started criticizing people. I can't really say it, but if you look into who he was criticizing, saying, man, he was getting into some not criticizing openly. A matter of fact, the video might be up. Because the thing is, I got to figure out if they used AI or not. But I think, let me see if I can type it in. Did Nixon criticize? Because the criticize, who you criticize, man, we already know. What was it? Okay, while Richard Nixon authorized arms shipments, he privately expressed resentment toward the lobby. So the lobbyist, I'm to stay within YouTube guidelines, you guys know. But if you look up, did Nixon, who he criticized? Like he criticized, according to taped conversations account, and he was talking about how people were trying to control him. They were trying to tell the American president what to do, even though the American president is told what to do. Um, it just, yeah, he criticized, and then next thing you know, he was impeached. Only president to this date so far to be impeached. And Mr. X, you had something?
No, I was just going to say in general, whatever's coming, whatever the agenda is, from Conan, nobody would have thought the world could get locked down, but it did. So no matter how crazy a what they call conspiracy theory or the agenda might be, we can't take anything off the table. That's all I'm saying. We can't take anything off the table of what they're planning.
Yeah, no, you're right. We have to be open-minded to see, like saying, okay, what are the possibilities? Definitely, I have a feeling they took Nixon out because of those who he didn't go along with the agenda. How and they took him out in a harsh way. I mean, Watergate tapes. This is to show you how deep the corruption has grown in the decades. So he was able to be taken out from Watergate tapes, as so we know it's Watergate, right? But it was really because of criticism, it seems to be. Hillary Clinton deletes what? Thousands of emails. Nothing happens. Evidence, basically. So, and this is something where I was saying that with the whole 9/11 and these other things, destruction of evidence is a crime. That's a crime. It is. The 10th Amendment. People, when you ask the average person, and you'll see this with political supporters, you ask them what the First Amendment is. They don't even know. And I'm not great at American history. I know more of alternative American history than I do the straightforward history. I know of the atrocities that, they don't want to mention. And I know the dates and stuff. I remember all the jokes they used to play when we were kids, like, hey, when was the War of 1812? And people would start thinking, well, it's like 1812, man. It's like, well, what do you think? The fake ape man they try to make from the pig tooth and stuff. A Nebraska man. They say, hey, you know where Nebraska man was found, right? Nebraska. So they found a bone fragment basically, and made an entire scenery to basically demonize the people, to lessen them. The moon mission too, like as far as the daytime moon, the way, when you see like it looks holographic, which have to admit it does. Like I had posed this picture here. This is where, the great task in life is to find reality. When you look at this picture and you squint your eyes in the right way, you'll see those lines that look like they're crooked become totally straight. The darker blue lines, the light blue lines are vertical. The darker ones are horizontal, but they look like they're crisscrossing. But if you squint your eyes, they become perfectly parallel to one another, straight lines. So if
That's crazy, man. I just saw it. That's crazy.
You just saw it, right? You squinted.
I squinted and it became straight. I wasn't seeing it first, but when you said the squint, I squint and boop, it turned.
Exactly. So now this is where I'm saying that things like the moon looking holographic, which I'll admit in nighttime, when I look at the telescope, I haven't looked at it in years, but when I did, it looks like, you could step on it. It looks like you can land on that. It looks like you can, it looks almost fake, like so delicate and like powder, actually. It's amazing. But in the daytime, it does look holographic. But now, like just like this illusion, when you squint your eyes and you look at it and you see these lines become totally parallel to each other, totally straight, you start to say, what else am I looking at that I think is crooked, but it's straight? And then when I look at something that's straight, it might actually be crooked. So it lets us look into different perspectives to say, okay, what I'm seeing might not actually be real. It might not be what I think I'm seeing. That's a better way to put it. So you're looking at something like we see just also what we see on TV and stuff like that. We say, well, wait a minute, how do I know this person is really telling me the truth? How do I know? Like, is there any way to tell? And that's where this is another reason why I think they discourage critical thinking. Critical thinking is the only thing that we really have to protect ourselves with. That saying, our superstitions are the only thing. Being suspicious is the only thing that can protect us. If we're not suspicious, then we're opening, it's like you're prey. So like, look at an animal. They're always paranoid. They're always suspicious of, if it's a predator. And that's the only thing that can protect us, is that thought of saying, man, something seems a little off here. If a person loses that ability, they become sheep. And any of us can forget at any moment. It's hard to be thinking all the time. Definitely. It's very hard. I mean, it gets, yeah. I don't know if anybody.
Give me a few minutes.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, like, like I had shown stuff, and I'm going to put another thing up with the evolution thing, like the lobster thought to be extinct 50 million years, and they found one, in the Philippines, 1908, 1975 as well. Hundreds of millions of years for the fish caught it off the coast of Africa. Till today, they catch them. The Laotian rock rat, definitely extinct. They were saying 11 million years. Oh, they saw it in an Asian food market, and then they found a living version. It's like, you look at things like that and you say to yourself, like, wait a second, man, something is off. Something is definitely not what they're telling me. And the only thing that can begin to expose that is thinking for ourselves, is to say, hey, wait a second. We see it with the picture of, what was this? The creation of Adam, right? And it looks like they were encoding a picture of the human brain as the God seat. So God is seated in the human brain, maybe connecting something within us, within ourselves. And this is a famous picture. And I got to give it to, I made the collage to show the human brain and showing, like, wait a minute, this thing looks very similar to the human brain. And touching that, which in the middle of the brain is the pineal gland, which has a lens that points upwards. So we have a lens, a third eye in the middle of our mind, the mind's eye, that points upward. It doesn't point forward like two eyes, it points upward. So it's like, wow, it really makes me wonder. When we look at the glorification of the Eucharist, 1600 AD, looks below, that's the original picture, so-called God and Jesus holding on to what looks like Sputnik, with a dove in the middle. And I put like artistic rendition on top over the satellite, very true to what it looks like in the painting, to show that, hey, the well of Moses on the right, the well of Moses looking straight demonic. People don't want to talk about that. What if Moses was a type of demon, man? Just according to these carvings, that was in the 1395, going into the 14th century. This is the 14th century carving of Moses with horns on the right, looking straight creep show. That's a horror. That's a horror movie type of carving. On the left, Michelangelo, supposedly 1513 to 15. And again, he's got two horns on the front of his head. What's the chances of two statues a couple of 100 years apart? So about 100 and change, and they both are depicting Moses with horns. It really makes you wonder. It really makes you wonder. Just like in the other paintings, when, okay, they're depicting Moses with horns. They're depicting Jesus if that's the Jesus figure, and what would be God holding what appears to be a satellite in Africa. You see these guys with red hair and dark skin, but also some little alien type of guy in a pouch behind him. I took this picture personally at the Metropolitan Museum in Manhattan back in 2015. I took this picture. This was dated to 1480 BC and 1070 BC. So a rough estimate, but at least 3,000 years old. At least 3,000 years old. And I said to myself, what is that little guy in the back of the bag with the two little things that look like maybe they could be horns, maybe they can be antennae? So archaeology combined with the study of science, it yielded a lot. You know, Alexis, brother, thank you for the support, bro. He says, this year, Oscars was the least viewed yet. Why? I think people are, I want to say that they're snapping out of it. I want to say that. But I think that the distraction on the other stuff that they're creating with the Epstein and trying to get away from people, maybe thinking about the Epstein, creating more distractions, the war, the lunar, the whole Trump just taking funds and starting just insane stuff, Venezuela, Cuba, him making a Miami hotel his presidential library. I mean, this is levels of insanity that has been unseen, basically. It thinks like it just, I really think like, wow, this is the Oscars don't, everybody's like, they're saying, no, I need a much stronger distract, because the Oscars, of course, yes, was a distraction. And now it's, oh no, we need a stronger distraction, which is why I think the viewers went down, the viewership. And also, again, with the Oscars, the Epstein let people know, like, oh, why am I watching these guys? These guys are straight files. They're all files. Tom Hanks, I think, closed down, I don't know if it was his Instagram or Twitter. He said everybody kept calling him a PDF file. And it's like, well, if the shoe fits, you know, what was he? The man with one red shoe. We know the whole thing, the myth about red shoes. They're supposedly made from, you know, the kids, from what they're saying, in my opinion. And Tom Hanks, the man with one red shoe. The David Bowie, Let's Dance, put on your red shoes and let's dance the blues. There's other references to the red shoe. You know, they talk about Steven Spielberg, you know, wearing those shoes. I think Macaulay Culkin, there was some type of reference. So we're dealing with some very weird stuff, man. Like it ain't pretty. It ain't pretty, man. It just, that whole exploitation of the young, I mean, look at that. Who is that church leader? Let me see if I get the name. Because you guys are gonna love this one. I think he was he became a full-time Latter-day Saint, religious leader and politician, 1801 to 1877. I mean, you can't make this name up. This is like the number one pedo name in the world. His name is Brigham Young. What type of, you can't even make this. How the heck could you have a guy, a religious leader, with the butt piracy we already know that exists in the church, straight shit bandits, we already know. And this guy's name is Brigham Young. It's like, holy smokes. If that ain't, I mean, Brigham Young, it's like he's just letting them know, like, listen, man, Brigham Young. I can't even believe that. But he's a figure in history that became a full-time Latter-day Saint. Oh man, religious leader. He just He was the second president of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. I forgot which book I had. I don't know if it was the Stargate Conspiracy or maybe something I was looking through in the bookstore a few years ago called, yeah, one lady had a chapter called The Church of Latter-day Reptiles. Her and a guy wrote this book. But Brigham Young, right, Mr. X? That's crazy, right?
That's crazy. I didn't even think about that. You know, I
I
thought about.
never thought about that. Oh my god! I went to go hit my unmute button. I hit the log off button on accident. I'm sorry, Andy. You just uncovered a huge, just mind blowing, the whole thing right there. Wow, that is genius, Andy.
Yo, you see his picture? I'm trying to save it now. Yo, if I can upload this picture, you're gonna laugh. Yo, this is, I can't even believe this, bro. This is like, you got to be kidding me. All right, the young pitcher, and they're calling him a pioneer and prophet. Yeah, Brigham Young, you know? Bring. It's like who? Bring? You know, Young. Brigham Young. Let me pitch the other one. Yeah, the other pitch is hilarious. This is like straight out of the handbook for PDF files. Brigham Young. I can't. Yeah, you can't make this. I mean, the most pedo name in the world is Brigham Young, and to find out that he's a preacher for the Church of Latter-day Saints, Harry Bang, Brigham Young. Yo, Brigham Young. That's 1801 to 1877, straight Brigham Young. He's like, look, don't bring them old, bring them young. This is, you know, the words. We already know how they play on the words, bro. The word play, when I wrote secret words and Spellcaster, it is so true, man. Secret words, they cast spells. The president is pretend to let people know. The fact that it has this, the U.S. presidential election, you can switch those letters around and spell elite hustlers and that's a sign. That's a sign. Walt Disney's Magic Kingdom spells giant ads welcoming my kids. It's like this whole language has a secret underlying meaning to it, especially when you get into stuff like Brigham Young. Brigham Young is telling us subliminally what he's around, what he's about. Brigham Young, man.
And I could just say real quick, I mean, I think the stuff that you've, with your book, Secret Words, and all the stuff that you've come out with, you're the only guy on the internet doing this. And it's like, you got to get this out, this information out there. You really do. Because it's like, this is real info. You know what I mean? You got to spread the word because this is valuable stuff. You can't get this on any other channel.
Thanks,
you know?
Mr. X.
I just feel like, I don't want to see it in the back burner. You know what I'm saying? I want to see it out there. Because I think this could explode. It's just it needs a fire. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I tell Scribe I need an agent. He was going to be my agent, but he does so much stuff with the businesses that he runs.
I agree. You do need an agent. I'm going to be honest with you. Yeah. Somebody that handles your marketing and your promotion.
Yeah, thanks, man. I mean, if I could sell,
I mean, somebody a real professional. You know what I'm saying? I really do. Your work is valuable, and I know you, because as a writer, you're going to be more focused on the content and the writing. You're not going to be focused on the marketing so much aspect of it.
Yeah,
you know it's just normal. It's normal.
Yeah, I could produce so much more stuff if I could just focus on writing. I got 6 books out, so the 4 dating, the 3. So everybody knows I have the 4 books in the dating field. I got the 2 books in the knowledge field. If I could sell a couple of thousand of each, which is not a lot. I mean, if I sold 10,000 each book, I'd be able to do it full time. I'd say, okay, have to pay the taxes, of course. And it still wouldn't be a lot of money. It would still be, you're looking at maybe 150 grand if I'm lucky. And then I got to pay 50 of that for tax. So, and what my debt is way above that. So I'm like, Scribe knows. I told him, I said, look, man, I'm almost at the point where I'm ready to just walk away. I said, but I'm still going to try. I said, hopefully I can get this architect, the book about the evolution is to prime people, because the architect book is so potent that it's going to, people it's going to be too much if I don't have something to buffer and say, okay, because people are going to say, oh, so what are you saying about evolution? Okay, here you go. Here's the evolution basic, the short version. And then architects is here with it, because that's going to be the second part of architects. So let me just split it to where architects won't be as long. And then I'll have the evolution proof to show that evolution is not scientific. So people will say, well, this theory is kind of very out there, man. And then with the secret words, I still got a lot of stuff on that. Because when I looked into just the everyday stuff, like when Brigham Young, I knew about it from way back. I remember hearing about Brigham Young, I think in the 80s or 90s. And I just, it dawned on me, and I'm like, wait a minute, Brigham Young, you got to be kidding me. I started to, because at first you can miss it kind of like years ago when we all didn't know as much as we know now. You might say, oh, Brigham Young, whatever. But then when you think, you're like, man, that's a funny ass name, man. Brigham Young.
So I do think that I've never heard that name before. Brigham. Well, I've never heard that before. But I thought it was weird, but I never clicked in my mind until you said it tonight. I'm like, wow.
To know that it's a real guy, and then we already know but Pirate City. To know that he was a priest for the Church of Latter-day Saints is insane. It's insane to be like, oh my goodness, he's the second president of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. So this guy was straight. He created Fruit City probably back then. I mean, Brigham Young. You don't even have to ask. It's like he says it in his name. He says it in his name. That is so subliminal. Like, it's like I have, I'm almost at a loss for words, man. It's hilarious too. Brigham Young. It's like, oh my goodness. I mean, makes me want to look into other, guys' name. Look at who was the one in the early 80s. This is a good one. Mr. X might remember this. Oral Roberts.
Yeah, I remember the name. I never followed
right.
Him. I remember the name.
I remember hearing it as a young kid, and I'm like, who the hell is gonna name their kid Oral? It's like, you know what? Let's what do we might call him Dave or John. Now let's call him Oral. Oral Roberts. I've been trying to put that one together. Something is weird about that. Oral anything for a preacher. And he was a televangelist. He was big. You look at who was the other one? So we got Jim Baker and Tammy Faye Baker that were caught in the scam. Jimmy Swaggart. Like if he got swag, caught twice with a hooker. That was a dude that Jimmy Swaggart, I give Jimmy Swag. He's got the most sweatable picture that has ever been shown. Let me see if I can find it. I thought I had it uploaded it. Oh yeah. Jimmy Swaggart. This dude sweating. This is Jimmy Swaggart sweating after he got caught with a hooker, and he's on television saying that he sinned, and then he gets caught later on again, and he's still around. I think Jimmy Swaggart's still alive, man. You talking the televangelists are so hilarious. Yeah, Red Blur, what's up, brother? Oral Roberts, man. Oral Roberts, straight rainbow. Yeah, Jimmy Scammer. Exactly, bro. Exactly. It's hilarious. It's really hilarious, man. This, when I look at the so-called minister, who's the other one? Credo Dollar. He's from the church.
Wasn't TJ Jakes caught in a homosexual relationship?
Yep, caught out there with like a 19-year-old dude.
Right.
TJ Jakes, and that's him. Credo Dollar.
Creflo
Dollar. Yeah, just the fact
I give him credit. At least he uses the name. He's not hiding it. So I give him all the credit in the world for not hiding it. At least he's there for the money. You know what I mean?
Yeah, openly, he's got the jet plane. Who's the guy that looks nutcase? Oh man, he got
Oh,
caught
I know
with
who you're talking about. Copeland, Kenneth Copeland.
Copeland. Yes, Kenneth Copeland. Oh my goodness, Kenneth Copeland. Yeah, he's got an intense. That guy is
Oh, he's making
clearly.
money. Kenneth Copeland. He's making bank.
Oh yeah, yeah. He's got like I think over 10 or 20 airplanes. Let me see how
Yeah.
many. Yeah, because I
That's
think
why I'm not here to defend religion. You know what I mean? Just because I believe in a
Mhm.
creator doesn't mean I'm going to defend this crap. You know what I mean? I see the hypocrisy in it. So I'm not here to defend religion. You know?
No, I totally, yeah, I hear you, man. I know you're spiritual, not religious.
No.
Um,
I mean, yes.
I thought he had more. It says what reports consistently highlighting three primary high-profile jets.
Well, they're what, $100 million jets or something?
Big time. I mean, he's got a Gulfstream V, so that's a jet that flies high on the Gulf Stream.
Mm-hmm.
A Cessna Citation X. The Gulfstream he purchased from Tyler Perry, and that's the one the reporter called him out. Oh, he has donated. Reports suggest Copeland has donated over 27 other aircraft to other ministries throughout his career. So he's given away jets to other crooks, basically. And who I forgot the other guy, Jesse Duplant, I think his name is. Jesse Duplant. Yeah, he was bragging about his chandelier costing 300 grand. And I'm like, this dude, it's unbelievable, man, when I think about this. It's unbelievable. And we all know Joel Osteen, Joel Osteen. Yeah,
Well,
that's
think
definitely,
about all the zombies that follow these guys. You know what I'm saying?
yeah, man. I have family
Yeah,
members.
there's religious zombies too. So I'm not here to defend that. There are plenty of them. I mean, how are they getting rich? They got to have mega donations coming their way.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Yeah, just I see it like it's like holy. I mean, yeah, yeah. Copeland, no, Copeland is a creepy dude. I'm surprised people don't see through it, but he's a Southern preacher.
Mm-hmm.
Got that Southern drawl like Joel Osteen. Joel caught a lot of people, man. I mean, his whole mega church, and even though I mean, people see the scams. Him, his wife, Joyce Myers.
Mm-hmm.
Like the female Joker or something very odd about her look. Definitely, kind of Jokerish. Uh, these guys. I'm trying to think of some of the other ones, but those are the main ones so far. Joel Osteen is probably the biggest, but Kenneth Copeland is making some bank, man. He definitely is, man. He definitely is. Yeah, 11:57. It's almost 12. I figure, yeah, man, it's getting late. I got to get up early as usual every day. Hopefully, I can sell. If I can sell 10,000 copies of each book, that's 60,000 copies. I could do something full time. I mean, it would be great if I could sell that. I don't know if it's a pipe dream. If I can get an agent or even people like
Yeah, you need some marketing.
that'd be great. One of my friends keeps telling me, he goes, "Look, you got to get Sperm Street to Joe Rogan." Blah, blah. I'm like, bro, how am I supposed to get it there? I said, if somebody can get it there, or Howard Stern. He said Howard Stern would talk about it, and I'm like, well, I said if it happens, yeah.
Honestly, you may need to find a sponsor. Somebody you can share the profits with. I mean, that might be the only way.
Yeah, I don't mind. I don't mind. If I
you probably make more sharing the profits with somebody who can push it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I would be more than happy to sign a contract, say, look, you get this percentage of the profits, because 100,000 copies, I think I might make $5 a copy, depending on the publisher, right?
Or if they can up the price, they could up the price to $20, but with good marketing.
I would say, look, 500 grand, I would give the guy, if the guy got me to sell 100,000 and I get 500 grand, I'm like, yeah, he can take 200,000 as his fee, which is above usually what an agent. I think an agent gets 10 to 30%, but I'd be like, look, you take 2, I take 3, because I got to pay 100 grand taxes on 3, so at least I get to keep 2. And that,
I mean, there's plenty of publishers in New York, aren't there? That you can go.
Yeah. My friend, she said she's gonna see if she can see about getting a publisher, because we were working on a book together, and she wanted me to write a book like dealing with helping men, like trying to, for the maturity of, becoming a man. And she goes, you have a lot of knowledge on that. And I said, well, and she has a master's degree. So if she said she can put her credentials. I said, that'd be a dream come true. I mean, if I had 200,
you need to go back to the BP and promote that work you've already done. Just to open the doors. You know what I'm saying? To open the doors.
Oh yeah, definitely. That I would be able to do this full time, and I would produce. If people like these books, I would produce books on such a high magnitude where they would be like, this is phenomenal work, because I'm doing this under stress and throughout the years. If I had time to where I could say, okay, I'm good. I can do things at my pace. I would get so much more done. I was telling Scribe, I said, man, I should have had this book produced in December, then January, then March. I said I had to heal back and forth. I mean, even now I kind of feel a little, I figure, I'm kind of tired. I've been up very early, and I got to get up early tomorrow. But yeah, it would be I would love to do that. I love writing and teaching and learning. It's a beautiful thing. But
and you can probably definitely make a living on it. I mean, being super wealthy might be a little high level.
Even if I'm making 60, 70 grand a year, which is
exactly, I think that's pretty popular.
I'm happy with that, because 60 grand, I still got to pay 20 in tax, so that's only 40 grand a year. But I'm happy with that.
But it's still more.
Exactly,
it's still more. It's something. You know what I mean? You can work with that.
Yes, I look at it as a privilege to be able to work for myself and make that, because at least I'm working for myself. And then I know after I produce a few, if one hits, I'm good. And even if I'm happy just doing it and making a living. It's where I can eat, because now it's just like, it's at that point. Thank goodness I got some food, but yeah, it just definitely, man.
I would definitely open up any options you can. Don't close any doors right now. Just get your foot in the door, get it started, and then you can later on you write other books that go big time. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I'm really pushing to have the half of the architects. That I'm going to put out first, and then have architects. If I can get both of that, at least one done, to where I can publish it this month with Amazon. And then architects itself, the main body, because the theory is very, very controversial. People, I was telling Scribe, I said, I got to figure out a way to explain the theory of adaptation and the architects of humanity to where people can understand it. Because I understand it, but and he's very good with that. He's like, yeah, he goes, he goes, it took him a while, and he goes, okay, I see what you're trying to get at. And I say, okay, I got to say it easy, simple. Yeah, and I'm able to, answer all the questions. Maybe at that point I can get, to debate with fake Professor Dave.
Sure.
Yeah, because he's been debating.
You already got a good. I'm sorry. You already got a good resume right now with the current books you have. I would get that's definitely, you can work with that with some publisher.
Yeah, if somebody would have find the BP, somebody with because I heard it's getting pretty popular, but.
It is.
Guys, yeah, they're not even doing it properly. Like, they're still kind of mixing in their own philosophy, and I'm like, no, that ain't totally BP. Like,
I heard a guy, Myron, he was quoting the BP on one of his debates.
A lot of them. I heard Richard Coper just had a debate with Andrew Wilson, and he's starting to say, like, oh, it's over now, Richard Coper, and it's like,
wow.
Yes. Scribe was telling me today, and I was like, really? And I said. And I was like, wow. I said, look, he goes, yeah, man. Scribe is always trying to pull me back to that. We get into arguments because I'm like, look, man, I'm doing this. But if the door opens, great. I would definitely do that.
Well, I would say, forget I don't think the streaming is really that important, to be honest with you. I think getting it published with a good publisher, a decent publisher, is the goal.
If the publisher told me, if he could say, look, I have the ins, I have the outs. Red Blur says, if you go mainstream, they can. Well, I look at it like this, Red Blur. If I can 100,000 copies, I don't even consider that mainstream, because if that's my career, I'm only going to make, after taxes and everything, maybe 200 grand. That's like,
it's still good. It's still good.
Yeah, I figure with that as a springboard, I can jump like very higher with that.
And it only goes higher after that. Think about it. You're going to get interviews on
yes, yeah,
respected streams with a lot of views.
oh yeah,
So it only gets higher after that. You know what I
oh
mean?
yeah, yeah. It's just that one break, that one opening to where a scribe he's got the skills. Just he's so busy with his real estate business and stuff,
Wow.
and
Yeah,
it's
but you're
like.
in New York. I mean, I would
He
just,
even told me. He said if he does well, he'll help fund. And I said, well, I said I'll be great. I said, but I do need to if I can get an agent, and
I would get an agent. I really would.
yeah, I'm gonna
Just
look
get your name
into it.
out there. That's what I would
Or
do.
even like some good
You have great
interviews.
books. They're going to sell. They're
Thanks,
going
man.
to
I
work.
mean,
No,
a friend
they're
of mine told
going
me.
to.
Yeah, he keeps telling me he's like, look, you get on Rogan. I said it's easier said than done, man. I said
Yeah,
that's a big
come on.
yeah. I said
Rogan's a big time. He's only going to have big time people on
yeah.
his
I
podcast.
told him I would need to get on other platforms
Hmm.
to there. And it's possible. It's all it
Yeah,
needs is the controversy. All it needs is to say, "Oh, okay, he wrote
yeah.
this."
I mean,
Uh,
Andrew Wilson did it, so you can do it. I'm sure.
yeah, yeah. And Wilson, he. I don't know. Did he write anything or no?
I don't know if he wrote anything, but he took he took off like crazy. You know what I'm
Oh,
saying?
yeah.
Whether you like him or not, he did take off. You know what I'm saying?
He's got the in with whatever and all of them,
He's
and
appeared on, I think, Pierce Morgan, mainstream media outlets. So
he
he
has
took off. I
he's
mean, that's all that counts. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the
exactly
day.
exactly to get exposure to get
Yes.
exposure. Yeah, hopefully, man. And Red Blur, I hear what you're saying, man. They want people to sell out and stuff. I look at it as I'm not selling out. I'm happy to just sell a lower amount and be able to control my own output instead of, like you said, like if they say, "Oh, you want to go mainstream," I don't think.
You don't
Yeah,
have to
they
sell
only
out.
accept the
That's
diluted version. Yeah, they only accept. Yeah, they're not. It's going to be. I could see them being okay. This guy's too raw, but just to get exposure, it will at least allow me to support myself as a writer and a
but
creator. And the show
if
would get a lot bigger too.
yeah, but if a publisher sees dollar signs, he looks at your work and he sees dollar signs. That's all he cares about at the end of the day. Hey, is
Exactly.
this stuff going to sell? Can we make money on this? That's what they're looking to do.
Yeah. He might see like, oh, okay, it's not one book. You got four in the dating field, and then you got two more in the knowledge field. So he probably would be like, okay, if he sees that as lucrative, yeah, I could see the
Yes.
publisher saying, all right, you know what, we'll sign you to a contract. If they usually publishers, they don't really do much, but if it's a publisher, like you said, if they are willing to say, okay, I'll push your book, because usually they'll sign a lot of people, because I've watched a lot of authors and listened to their stories. If they will sign, say, 50 different people, and this one lady was saying she got, I think, a $300,000 deal for her book because they used it to make a movie. And she goes, they'll usually push two books out of those 50 books. The others, they don't care. Everybody gets the, $5,000, 10 grand bonus or something, but that's it. Maybe 15 grand. She goes, those two, they'll put the money to market the two that they think are going to make money.
Right.
So I guess with 6 books out, they might say, okay, who knows? They might say, okay, revise secret words. Like Brian Tracy had a book. He said they told him, if you change the title, we'll publish it. And he changed the title. So I was like, wow, I'll do that. Like, I'm okay. I understand that's what it might take to say, okay, you got to
Yeah,
make it more palatable.
that's fine. That's marketing, so that's fine. As long as the content stays pretty much on par with what you want, then you're fine.
Yeah. Red Blur says he used to watch CGA in his early days. Yeah, I didn't know if he went totally mainstream, but he got bigger. He got bigger, and he is kind of sellout. He is kind of sell. He's definitely diluted. He definitely diluted without a doubt. I never really watched him, but yeah, I've seen little clips, and he kind of sold. He kind of sold. He
But you know
diluted.
what, MD? You only got one life to live, and we're both at the same around the same age group. Just go for it, man. Got
Yeah,
nothing to
yeah.
lose. Just
No,
go
I
for
already
it.
know. It's like as much as I try to stay within the parameters, I always got a knack for saying some dumb shit. So the real me will always come out. It's like that's like my I don't know what to call it. I don't want to call it a curse or whatever, but
Yeah.
it just no matter. And I think that prevents me from selling out, because it's like, don't worry, let him make a. Even if I make $1 million, he's gonna say some dumb. It's just,
But
I
you're
don't
not
know.
here to save the world in the end of the day. You're
Mhm.
just living your life like we all
Exactly.
do, and then you're gone.
Exactly.
That's how it works
Yep.
for all of us. You know what I mean? So you're not
Totally.
here to save the planet. That's not
Yeah.
your job.
Exactly. I look at it as, hey, and I know I'm going to say something that, eventually, and then they'll be like, oh, and it's like, great. It's like, as long as it's out there, I can support. And then, because
Yeah,
sometimes you can make money off of 1 or 2 books and you don't have to work again,
exactly.
It's like, so I'll be, yeah, hopefully soon, man. Red Blur says, get the bag, bro, and get the AMG merch. Yeah, hopefully, man. I gotta see what's up, man. But yeah, man, this has been a great stream. Thank you, Mr. X, for being here. Jake
Absolutely.
and everybody in the chat. Alexis, brother, thank you for all the support. You, Mr. X, thank you for the support. Red Blur, thank you for the support and everything, brother. We'll talk soon. Tonight. We'll talk. I'm trying to stream every day as much as I can. And yeah, take care, guys. Have a great night. We'll talk
Have a
soon.
great night, everyone.